we are. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the Hello Neighbor show for today, Monday, the 13th of July 2026. The students are on holidays, and the temperature is quite something here in Jamaica. I trust you had a great day, and you're looking forward to a great productive week. There is lots to talk about, but we shall take our time and we shall build up to what we expect to be a great show. We're hoping that our analysts will join us later on and that they'll have much to say. Now, Mr. Matthew Samuda is recommending that the FID take on some of the work that the IC is doing. The editorial of the Gleaner this morning said no, the FID is not the place. And the argument that the Gleaner puts out concerns the head of the FID, Mr. Dennis Strong. You know, Jamaica is really a fascinating country. Really a fascinating country. If you follow all that is happening here, you don't get any sleep. The minister of the opposition spokesman on education, Mr. Damian Crawford, is challenging the Ministry of Education's PEP results. And you know, I hear them say that Mr. Crawford is a figures man. But Mr. Crawford's argument is not very strong, you know. And I have invited Mr. Crawford to let's have a conversation on that. But he has gone over to CVM. I guess at CVM, the bowling over there is a little soft. Maybe by the way, I noticed that Tyrone Reed is now over at CVM. He has left Nationwide. He's now over at CVM. We'll see what happens there. Miss Nikisha Burchell is at it again. I want you to listen to this little bit of clip coming from Miss Burchell, Nikisha. And every time I hear Nikisha Burchell speak, by the way, those of you who are on YouTube, very soon we're going to be able to show you videos here, and so just bear with us a little bit. We're working on something. It will be okay soon. Miss Burchell, every time I hear Miss Burchell speak, I say to myself, you know, Homer Davis, how could Homer have allowed this to happen? Sometimes I feel like I would just go down to Southern St. James and see if I can help out down there. Listen to Miss Burchell.
The task of getting some patching work done in the constituency, from Seven Rivers all the way up to Cambridge, past the high school so far, which were really terrible, have been patched out. Not as smooth as I would want, but some work has been done. We have some more work that's going to continue all the way up to Stonehenge. And then the other side of the constituency, we're working on a program for that to get the patching work done on that. But so far, ride is not as bad. So great, good work so far. Flat Sweetwater. I know it's been difficult. Here, we reported this breakaway from Hurricane Melissa to the government more than one time, more than 10 times, I don't know how much time. But what Constable Gordon and I did was we hired a tractor to flatten it ourselves because we can't wait to get it fixed. And I hope it has made the drive a little bit easier until they can organize themselves to come and help us out.
All right. So Ms. Birchall is saying that she reported the road to the government, and she's waiting and hoping till them sort themselves out. Ms. Birchall don't even understand that that she's part of the government. Poor Miss Birchall. Miss Birchall don't even understand that she's part of the government. Miss Birchall separates herself from the responsibility. So it's not her responsibility as the member of parliament. It's for them. Them to sort themselves out. You know, when we bring this type of representation to the parliament, you know, it's kind of sad, you know. It's very, very sad that the young lady don't even understand that she's part of the government. But what she says that you know, when them sort themselves out, then we fix it. Not she. When them sort themselves out. You know, I spend a lot of time watching the British Parliament. It's almost, I do it in my free time. And our parliamentarians are weak, you know. They're very weak. Mostly those on the PNP side. And it reflects in the quality of representation that the people of Jamaica is getting. Not very strong at all. Very disappointing to hear Ms. Birchall speak.
Dr. Wheatley was being recommended.
All right. Before we get to that, my PNP friends want a debate. They want to debate me. I have been asked to join a platform to debate comrades. I don't do debates. I don't do debates. I do conversations. Because the debate has already been decided. I don't do debates. The debate is who broke Jamaica. Who broke Jamaica? And I have said on this program that many of the people that you see on air, turning on their lives and talking, they are hypocrites, you know. They are hypocrites. Not only are they hypocrites, but they're not doing service to educate people on facts. Because the fact of the matter is that the current administration is being blamed for a lot of things that it should not accept blame for. And I think that the party, you know, need a coordinated central message. And the message of the Jamaica Labour Party ought to be that the PNP broke it. PNP mash up the country. And the Jamaica Labour Party is not only reconstructing but it has to be realigning. And at the same time, creating an environment for people to survive, to live, work, raise their families. So I don't do debates. That debate is over. Because history has answered that debate. The last 40 years have answered that debate. And if you are alive in Jamaica today and you are 40 years old, then almost 24 of those years were under the People's National Party. The People's National Party was therefore responsible for your formative years, for your education, for your development from infancy to childhood, to adolescence, to adulthood. So what we need now is not to argue about the past. We need now to have a conversation about the future. So the question no longer is who broke it. That has been answered. The question is who is fixing it. That is a question that we need to be that need to be answered. So I don't do debates. If you want to have a conversation, then we're available. When you feel like having a conversation about how we're going to fix it, then you let me know. The problem we blame on this government, you see, did not start with them. A theologian by the name of Moltmann said that responsibility is not a detachable burden that you shift to the shoulders of others. And for 40 years, the PNP dominated governance in Jamaica. For 40 years, the last 40 years, the government of Jamaica was dominated by the opposition People's National Party. And some of them have no shame because they are seeking power today. And so if you are going to understand our broken health care, I see Mr. Crawford. You know Mr. Crawford? I hear that you are considering challenging for the leadership of the People's National Party. And I wish you well. But your thoughts on development are a little shallow, you know. You need to think about the problems Jamaica face a little deeper, so. And I am in extending an invitation to you to talk to us up here on this platform. Let's have a conversation. Remember, we don't do debates.
Asking everyone to repost.
You think
and to send the heartbeats, please.
You see those young people in grade 6 that just did PEP? Their parents came out of the failed society that your government presided over. You can draw the wool over a few eyes, Mr. Crawford. You can't draw it over mine. I want my listeners to think. If you are 40 years old in Jamaica and you are not successful, blame the PNP. The PNP is responsible for the problems that are manifesting themselves now in the Jamaican society. That's not a political argument here. That is a matter of historical fact. And I'm not too interested in partisan politics, My job as an analyst is to tell you the truth. Mr. Crawford is doing something that is shameful. Crawford is playing politics with education. Damian Crawford is politicizing a ministry that ought to be taken out of politics. Because to be very fair, under the party Mr. Crawford supports, they were graduating illiterates. When I went to school under the PNP, I had to stand up in a class. Me not even gonna get bench to sit up on. Stand up. Stand up with your book in your hand to write. Things were so bad. So, Mr. Crawford, don't enter the debate like that. Don't try to discredit the Ministry of Education. And
Dr. Weekly.
And talk about you're a figures man. Well, if you have the numbers, go and use those numbers to win the PNP presidency. But if this is your thinking, then I don't think you're going to do well. I don't think you're going to do well at all. Because what we need is not a partisan approach to education, but to understand that if the society is to advance, human development becomes a prerequisite of that. What is your plan? What is the plan of the PNP for the transformation of education? A couple of years ago, you made a proposal to add a 2% tax or something. Your party came out against it, and you had to back down on it, which means that you're not even showing leadership in your own party, Mr. Crawford. Get yourself together. What we need to do is a philosophical audit of Jamaica's problems, not a partisan one. And there's a view in Jamaica, a very partisan political view, that all the ills. I heard Miss Donna Duncan Scott, the lady who said that the election bonner, with a piece of a commentary that I don't even know what to call it. I wonder if I can find it. I tell you the truth. Some of these people seem to be losing their minds, because I don't know how them sit down and come up with these things. Here is Miss Duncan Sutherland. Hold on, Miss Duncan Sutherland talking, Mr.
Back on my veranda today with my coffee cup and in my rocking chair. And I want to talk about the responsibility that comes with political leadership. In today's day of social media, there's a lot of communication required by politicians. And sometimes we have to be very careful, especially when we hold positions like Minister of Health. Yes, and I'm going there. There was a video that was done and put on social media this week, and the comments were telling. It was a trend about doing a Netflix documentary. But it was very flippant. And this comes against a background where we have a healthcare system that is in deep trouble.
You hear that? No, I will say this, that Dr. Tufton is a marketer. But I think that Dr. Tufton has done remarkably well to transform the health sector. Let's leave Dr. Tufton out of this for let's leave that. Let's get back to Miss Patricia Duncan Sutherland. She's lost what three elections, and she disappeared for a time because she said the election lost Bonner, or it hurt her. So she's back now on our veranda sipping her coffee. And Miss Duncan Sutherland, maybe that's the place you belong. In your rocking chair, sipping your coffee. maybe that's where you need to stay, Miss Duncan Sutherland. Sip your coffee in your rocking chair. Happy Sunday to you, ma'am. Stay away from the politics. Listen to her.
Back on my veranda today with my coffee cup and in my rocking chair. And I want to talk about the responsibility that comes with political leadership. In today's day of social media, there's a lot of communication required by politicians. And sometimes we have to be very careful, especially when we hold positions like Minister of Health. Yes, and I'm going there. There was a video that was done and put on social media this week, and the comments were telling. It was a trend about doing a Netflix documentary. But it was very flippant. And this comes against a background where we have a healthcare system that is in deep trouble.
No. The healthcare system is in deep trouble. Since when? Is 10 years ago our healthcare was in deep trouble? Miss Duncan Sutherland. If Miss Duncan Sutherland is ill, she's not going to go to the KPH. And all of you Jamaicans there listening to her need to understand that they don't really care for you, They manipulate the poor by this perception of empathy. They jump on a private jet or a airplane and fly to Miami. Me and you. And me and you. Hello, Jacet, Lovelace. Have to deal with the systems here. And this is what I am saying to the party, the Jamaica Labour Party. Don't allow the PNP to set the narrative. Don't allow it. PNP can't criticize no healthcare system in Jamaica. The healthcare, let me tell you this, and I am doing the work. I'm just waiting on the studio. By the way, if you can make a contribution to our new project, please help us out. 954-635-8732 is our Zelle account. 954-635-8732. Because I have some things to show you, you see. I have some this show here in prime time. Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. 954-635-8732. Because I can prove, and I'm going to show to you that there's what you call the social construct. Social construct. Social mobility, social upliftment, social programs in a society. And like in a society like Jamaica, the social infrastructure is important. I don't know if you know this, guys, that before Bruce Golding came to power in 2007, people were turned away from hospitals in Jamaica. You hear me tell you? Miss Duncan Sutherland, sit down in your chair and drink your coffee. Because you are talk politics. And the people of Jamaica tired. We're tired of the politics. Because that not take us nowhere. That not take us nowhere since independence. We're tired of it. You know? Let me see if I can find. Producer, give me a minute. Let me see if I can find the most honorable Prime Minister. Run them way. We're tired of the politics. Let us see if we can. Let me see.
Asking everyone to tap the screen, share the live, post the live.
Here is it.
And send a heart, please.
Here is the Prime Minister.
Forgive me for taking this platform to make this point, but I don't believe there is a better platform than this one. A platform of progress being made, buildings going up, roads being constructed, our travel advisory being upgraded, and we are being rated as the most peaceful country. Those who come to you with lies and nonsense, tell them to go away. Go away.
That's what you need to tell Miss Patricia Duncan Sutherland. Go away. With the greatest of respect, Miss Duncan Sutherland. Go away. Go away. Lie you are telling. Lie. Tell them again, Mr. Prime Minister. Tell them again. Tell them again.
Being upgraded, and we are being rated as the most peaceful country. Those who come to you with lies and nonsense, tell them to go away. Go away. As a boat.
You hear that? And that the labor right there. Run them way. Don't get in no debate with no PNP. Labor rights, don't get in no debate with no PNP. Let the PNP them turn over with them there and chat. That's all them a look relevance. Them a look somebody if chat. Go away. Tell them to go away. You know, they say you mustn't speak evil of the dead. But Mr. Dini Peart passed on. Mr. Dini Peart was my MP. Mr. Dini Peart was my MP. I don't want to say nothing more on that. Oh my goodness gracious me. Let's go back to the lady that says she's hurt. The Bonar says she lose the election. Before Mr. Golding won the election in 2007, people stayed home and died. You hear what me say? People turn their yard and dead. There were women with fibroids, bleeding, and couldn't go to the hospital. People with Because when you go, if you're not register with you and pay your fee, you can't go in. And that is not me propagandizing. That is me telling you as it is. And them now go like me. Because me can't come up here and tell lie. And when we see them I try to mislead my Jamaican brothers and sisters, I have to come up here and call it out. And lie them I tell. Tell them to go away. Go away. Lie on what tell. Dr. Tufton and the Jamaica Labour Party, starting under Bruce Golding, when the Jamaica Labour Party removed hospital fees, their own Dr. Dawes say a scandal bag. I know someone who used to work at a particular hospital in Jamaica under the PNP in the maternity unit at the Spanish Town Hospital. And this is not a make-up story, may I tell you, because this is a lady that I know. Sometimes at 3-4 pound bed, women die in the maternity ward under the PNP. Couldn't get a bed. They on floor. The morgue down at Spanish Town used to be out at the front. Dead bodies. When you pass in there driving out at the front, you smell it. So don't come here and talk about crisis in health sector as if to say the crisis started in 2016. You're too wicked, man. You're too wicked. Sit down on your veranda, drink your coffee, rocking on your rocking chair, and stop misleading the people of Jamaica. I could get my microphone connected so I could shout it out in the studio. These people are ridiculous. They are ridiculous. Fit water man say my eat. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry I'm disturbing your evening. Sorry. Sorry I have to be so graphic. In the 90s, hospital care in Jamaica was atrocious. My grandmother took me as a boy. Down to a hospital. I had 3 days we not get through. It was atrocious. And you know why it was atrocious? Because of corruption. Because it wasn't that the country was not earning money. Because every year we had to pay taxes after taxes after taxes. But more than 30 scandals. Every week there was a new scandal breaking out. The PNP was like, you ever see a leprous man? Leprosy. You know what is leprosy? Leprosy is a disease, you see, that you know no cure for it, you know. And leprosy start to eat your flesh off. And it PNP was leprous. It's almost like they intended to suck out the blood out of the Jamaican society and the Jamaican people. The healthcare did not start declining in 2016, Miss Duncan Sutherland. Come on. And then listen to her.
Personally know of 3 persons who went to hospital waiting to get a bed and died in a chair. One of them,
Let me tell you. Listen to it again. Let me tell. Let me show you the hypocrisy of this.
personally know of 3 persons who went to hospital waiting to get a bed and died in a chair. One of them,
Now, you know of 3 people who went to the hospital and died waiting in a chair. Let me tell you this. People did a hospital every day. People die on their way to hospitals. Dying in hospital is not a crisis. It's not a shame. I talked to a man, and the man's job is to roll out dead bodies in the mornings. And I said to the man, sir, hey sir, what is your job at the hospital? He said, my job is to pick up dead bodies, you know, sir. He said, all right, who? He said, some days you don't have no. He said, no, sir. He said, when him go in the morning time, every morning him get a clipboard. Figure roll out bodies. Somebody dying at a hospital in a chair is not a crisis, it's not a scandal. Them sick. People die on the way to hospital. They die at the hospital while waiting. It only means that they were sick. It don't mean that the hospital failed them or the minister failed. What type of foolish argument is that? So because you know of 3 people who die at the hospital waiting for a bed. People wait for bed in hospitals everywhere in the world because you have to go to triage and you can die while you are being triaged. While you are being assessed, you can die. So if you keep your relative at home till them almost dead and then you carry them to hospital, what makes you know, boy, I tell you something, this is nonsense.
Asking everyone to repost the live, tap the screen and send the heartbeats, please.
More people die in hospital beds than die in hospital chairs, Mrs. Sutherland. You hear that? More people die in hospital beds than die with people die in hospital chairs. Every hospital in the world that is nothing. That is no scandal. That is no shame. That is almost natural. Why Mr. Duncan Sutherland don't tell the people how many people die on their way to the hospital? Because they're sick. you know, she make it sound as if to say, well, this is such a crisis that you go to a hospital and you're sitting on that chair, you're sick. You're sick. What you must do? As you roll into the hospital, you must get a bed. Is that what Mrs. Sutherland is saying? As you go to the hospital, so you must be admitted? No. It don't matter how sick you are, unless you go into ER as an emergency, and all hospitals, depending on their types, have an emergency service. But people die every day in hospitals. Every day. There is no day. That's when you look at the registry up at the KPH, somebody not dead. Natural cause. Look at Senator Lindsey Graham. Just came in from Ukraine. Went to his bed and passed off. You can go to the hospital, sit in a chair and pass off. People have passed off in the plane while they are flying. All in a church, people die. That's not a crisis. That's not suggesting that there's a crisis in health, Mr. Dr. Sutherland. You're talking nonsense. Maybe your coffee is a little too strong there, man. your coffee is a little too strong. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we set out to the sea. What a tangled web. What a tangled web. Hmm? Anyway,
One was at Maple Hospital, and one of I know of was at KPH. Now, that is telling about what's happening. And the comments,
but nothing is telling about that. There's nothing telling about 3 people dying at a hospital. I'm not telling about that. People die on the operating theater. Women die giving birth. People die of all type of things. And I must tell you this to be sad. I'm going to do something for you, my listeners. And this is funny. It is funny. It is funny. It is funny. It is funny. Let me play something for you. Give me a second there. Let me just show you something. Since I started talking to you, bam bam. All right. 142,000 people have died since morning, across the world. I just have it up here. You can go on your and look, type in world ometer. Since I just spoke to you, 20 people just died. Gone up to 30. Now 40. Look at that. 50 people just died since I started. All right. So in the next, by the time we are finished with this show, hundreds of people will die across the world. That's just life. People don't die because of any necessary crisis. No, it's not COVID there. This is just the 4 more just went, another 10. Okay, so they keep updating it. And so since morning, 302,000 people have been born. And 142,000 people have died across the world since the start of the day. Okay? People die. People die. The sad reality is that people die. It's not a lack of care in hospitals why people die. Let's listen to Ms. Tucker.
Also telling to say that instead of doing what you need to be doing, you're here making light of your job. And this in the back against the background as well of a cause last month again by Dr. Alfred Dawes to understand why we don't get the Dome Hospital that was promised in Montego Bay, because Cornwall Regional Hospital is still, after 10 years, not back to where it needs to be. And since February it was promised, and it has still not been delivered. And, we build 10-story building or 6-story building, and we build it in 2 years. Why we can't build a hospital in 10 years? And if there's a problem with the hospital, why don't stop the project instead of continuing to waste money and build a proper hospital for Montego Bay? Why we can't have enough beds at KPH? Why we can't have saline at KPH? Why we can't have operating theaters that are working at KPH? So I don't think, and this is only the last in a series of many videos that have been posted online by Dr. Tufton about walking up hill and exercising and all of those kinds of things. Ministry of Health is about a lot more than promoting a healthy lifestyle. It's actually providing good health care for Jamaicans, which we do not have now. So there is a lot to be done.
I wonder if Ms. Sutherland used our public health care system. The healthcare system that she is criticizing. You use it now? The fact of the matter is that we have work to do in Jamaica, yeah. And I grant you that. that we have work to do. But you see this idea that that the system is failing, not no go so. Not no go so. And the people who use our public health facilities will tell you that it is vastly improved. Vastly improved. All right? And healthcare, you know, they whatever challenges that we have in the healthcare system did not start 10 years ago. Let's do the maths. Let's do the maths philosophically, and let's do it historically. If you are 40 years old today, then you lived 24 years under the People's National Party. Over the last 40 years, the PNP was in power for 18.5 plus 4. That's 22 and a half. Years of the last 40. The Jamaica Labour Party, 14. And who mash up healthcare? Who mash up education? Who mash up security? So the question is simple. Who shaped the Jamaica of today? Who shaped it? Who is responsible for the Jamaica that we are living in today? You talk about health. Who is responsible for it? You be the judge, listeners. I have given you the maths. That for the last 40 years, the PNP has ruled for 22 and a half. And the Labour Party, 14. You want me to go through the statistics and show you? I'm sorry I don't have it to put up on the screen. And that is why we are going to work so hard to make sure we can put up the graph on the screen to show you that in every sector of Jamaica, every sector, every one of them, and I'm not trying to exaggerate, the party in power, they have done better. They have done better in health as a social prerequisite of a society. Very, very important. They have done better in education. They have done better with roads. They have done better with crime reduction, with social relief. If you look at tourism, the Labour Party win. Local government, Labour Party win. National security, Labour Party win. Corruption, Labour Party win. Road, Labour Party win. Infrastructure, Labour Party win. Justice, Labour Party win. Salaries, Labour Party win. There is not one area of development that the PNP leads in. Not even one. And yet, for the last 40 years, they have been in power for 22 years. So when you hear nonsense, go to the facts. We don't debate here, we have conversations. And I challenge any comrade, if I even hold him, come up here and tell me. So when me I tell you, say I lie. Who built Jamaica? Or who failed to build it? The problems that are being fixed now, well, who caused them? The bad roads that we have now, who made them bad? Is Mr. Tufton mash up Cornwall Regional Hospital? The undereducating of our children, who caused it? Where was the repair? But, you know, the PNP took out 5 million, as a matter of fact, $6 million out of the NHT to do education transformation. Nothing ain't transformed. I was very much a part of that, you know. I won't tell you how. The Rose program. I know a little bit about it. What went transformed? I tell you that I went to Juicy Beef. No, not Juicy. I went to a patty shop to buy a patty. And it took me 20 minutes from the cashier to get the patty. One patty, 20 minutes. One patty took me between the cashier cashing and the server. Give me one patty. 20 minutes. And you can see that the workers are struggling. They are struggling. And I eavesdrop on a meeting that was being held while I was sitting down eating my patty. The supervisor came out and was having a meeting with the staff. And I felt it for them. And I said to myself, oh, what a way the PNP failed these young people. The way they articulate, the way they lacked confidence, the way they are not productive. I told you, that the minimum wage in Jamaica is $17,000. Is it PNP? Why the minimum wage is 17,000, They're vexed with me because I say it, but I have to tell you the truth. A PNP make minimum wage so low. Because when you look at the National Minimum Wage Act, it is the growth of the economy that causes the minimum wage to move. And if the PNP may grow the economy, the minimum wage can go. Uno left Andrew Holness alone. You hear? Left Mr. Holness. Leave Mr. Holness alone. Mr. Holness is being criticized for what he hasn't done. Holness is the doctor that is trying to fix the misdiagnosed patient. PNP was the doctor, and the PNP mash up the patient. Give him bad medicine and bad medication. And Holness have to be correcting the patient to keep the patient alive. Leave the Prime Minister. You see, if I was a parliamentarian, I don't have no desire to be in active politics. You think any PNP could have talked to me? Because me now stop lick them with the facts. They can't debate me. Because I don't debate. But I challenge them to come here with a conversation. Come up here so tonight. When I done, come tell me, say, you don't ever lie, you tell. A lie, you tell. Tell me what the murder rate was in 2016 to what it is now. Tell me what it is. Tell me what unemployment was in 2016 to what it is now. Tell me. Tell me what the passes are at CXC in 2016 as it is. What was the GDP per capita now? What was the debt? Tell me. Tell me. What was the sector, the salary of the public sector workers in 2016 as to where it is now? Tell me how you left the conditions of the roads, the conditions of the schools, the conditions of Jamaica, and you know what? The conditions of the psychology of the Jamaican people. Adam Smith spoke about the poverty of aspiration. Tell me about the state of the mind of Jamaicans in 2016 as compared to today. Can we measure that? The damage done by the party is immeasurable. And if we are going to fix the problems of the society, we have to be honest. Mouth make the chat, but the action do that. When you get a patient and the patient is bleeding, you have to stabilize the patient first before you start administering medication. And Jamaica has been stabilized. Dr. Holness do that. And he deserves to be credited for it. In the 1990s, when the financial sector collapsed, people unalived themselves. The story of Jamaica is too painful to tell. And sometimes when I come up here at nights and try to tell it, it breaks my heart. It's a painful story, and you comrades listening to me over there should hold your head in shame. You should turn off on your lives and go on to bed. It's the only government in our history that caused people to unalive themselves because of their policy. Such a government ought never to return to power. Because when a government so mismanage the affairs of a country so that people have to be taking their own life, you see those boys in Kingston at the wiping car glasses? A PNP calls it, you know. The mushrooming of the informal sector, indiscipline. I could spend 20 minutes and tell you about the social multiplier effect of a bad economy. And some of the things that people do and did. Lawlessness, existentialism, the whole matter of survival, human beings with the instinct to survive when government fails and people start to govern themselves. You know what that is? And there have been many studies done, but the truth, many people can't talk. And then you come telling me nonsense about singing for supper. With supper. The history and the story of Jamaica is too painful. And if I get into it tonight, PNP run away. Don't make me start on the scandals. You know, run away, go hide. And I'm telling my friend, don't go, stop debating with them. Stop debating with them. Don't make them relevant. Don't listen to them. Because when an economy collapses, the multiplier effect is real. No money for hospitals. No money for roads. No money for teacher training. We were told that Jamaica would be pothole free in 2003. And since that time, the government has allocated 40 billion for Sparks, and that can't even do. I drove down to Mandeville today through Sandy Bay. Minister Morgan, best wishes, sir, but man, what a road bad. I understand that work is to be done on that road. Hurry up, sir, do. Hurry up. And when you put the moral decline on all of that, that's what Adam Smith warned about. Because when people can't earn honestly, they find other ways. Values erode. Hustle replaces industry. Link replaces merit. That's not a JLP problem. That's a 90s problem. And we're still paying for it. A nation suffering 20 odd years of scarcity. You are a parent. If you are a father, you see, and you don't provide for your children, they'll steal. You can't send your daughter to school, 16 years old, and you don't give her lunch money. One taxi man will give her lunch. And you know what is going to happen from that. Can't have your daughter sending her off to college. And she don't have no books. And she don't have no fear. If you don't take on that responsibility, she's going to find a way. Because when there is scarcity, people find other ways to do things. And when people stop believing that the state can work, they leave. Good God Almighty. That's why we had the brain drain. I see that nurse telling the Prime Minister about ambition. Well, let me not even get there tonight. People stop aspiring. The best minds leave, and those who stay are told that they have no ambition. That's exactly what we heard from the Nurses Association president. Not a plan, a surrender. So what is happening now? This government is doing something painful but necessary. Realignment. You drive? If you drive, you know when your car is misaligned, it a wobble. Don't feel good. And it will crash. And so the mechanic put up the car up on the stand and get him wrench and because it have a line. And there are things in this country that needs to be done. When Mr. Holness spoke about bitter medicine, they vote him out. Well, they vote him out. Jamaica no realign yet. And it have to happen. Because if we are going to talk about going to Singapore, we have to align this country up. And it will go painful. It will go painful. Because some of these unions need to be, well, you know, you think you can build a nation without pain? Some things need to happen in Jamaica. And some people not gonna like it. They not gonna like it. Jamaica can't fix if some things don't happen. You have to realign the country because the PNP misaligned it. Run the car in a pothole, knock out the front end. And so if we are going to live in a society that is smooth, that feels good, we have to take the car to the realignment center and the mechanic have to jack it up and fix it. Bang, bang. It have to get some leak. Some screw off a pull.
Asking everyone to tap the screen, share the live, repost the live, and to send a heart news, please.
Some bolt have to put out. And you have to change some of the parts. And if you don't do that, the striking car now go run good. And if you drive a car too fast and it's not aligned, it will dash you in a bush and crash. some pain if you go feel in Jamaica if you go fix this. And a wholeness cause the pain. But me don't know about no operation that is not painful. You can't want to take out your appendix and you don't want the doctor cut your belly. You have to cut. Oh, doctor, don't take, no, it have to cut. The baby can't born. Ma'am, we have to do a cesarean section. We can't, no doctor. How you going to get out the baby? You have to cut your belly. Painful, yes. But if the baby is to be saved, ma'am, we have to cut him out. We have to take out the belly out of baby out of your belly. We have to cut you. Because we don't have no other way we're going to do. Talk it out. Wish it out. Smile it out. Put her under the knife, doctor. Put her under the knife. Put in anesthetics. If you need some little anesthetic, 2 painkiller, take it, but we have to cut this belly. Take this baby out, sister. And we may have to save your life. These are the type of conversations that we need to have. Because the society is broken. And if it is going to be fixed, then we have to administer some pain. Realignment in education, realignment in health, realignment in national security. That's what the Prime Minister did when he said, you meet your judge or you meet your maker. I see the Gleaner highlighting that 16 persons were unalived in Jamaica last week. The Gleaner make sure so them highlight that, That to drive down. We must remain a society of peace. Is the health sector perfect? No. But have we made improvements? Yes. Are the roads perfect? No. If you're a driver in Jamaica, you know. But the government has, and is presiding over the largest roadwork program in our history. Is crime solved? No. But look at the crime stats. That's not PR. That's repair work, and repair work takes longer than destruction. It's easy to tear down, You can take one night and knock down a building. You can't take one night and put it back up. 22 years of destruction is going to take a little time to build. Philosophy teaches us two things. Two things. One is what is called cause, and the other is duty. Cause or causality, and the other is duty. When you talk about cause, you see, you are saying that you cannot judge an effect without studying the cause. You cannot judge an effect without studying the cause. That's why I'm telling the labor right friends, don't talk to the PNP people then. It's a waste of time. Philosophically, they are weak because they are defending the indefensible, and you can't win. The cause of Jamaica's brokenness is not 10 years old. The cause of our health challenges is not 10 years old. A 10-year-old child is not an adult. The wholeness government is still a child. Patterson's government was a big man. Patterson's boy is 18 and a half years. That's a boy that can produce offspring. Wholeness's boy is 10 years old. Who do you blame for crashing the car? The 10-year-old boy or the 18-and-a-half-year-old boy? Cause. If we are to judge effect, we have to study cause. And the cause of health challenges is not the 10-year-old boy. Him not do that. And it is not fair for you to place the burden upon the 10-year-old boy that the 18-year-old boy caused. Mama, if you leave the two of them at your yard, and when you come back, things go wrong, you're going to blame the 10-year-old or you're going to blame the adult? Is the adult you have to blame? Uno leave, uno not understand the thing, you know, man. Uno not understand the assignment, brethren. Uno have to understand the assignment. Cause. And the other one is duty. To lead is not to perform grievance. To lead is to acknowledge progress. And maybe that is why the Prime Minister does not keep looking back. But I am going to look back. Because looking back means educating for 2030. Because if we ever make a mistake and reverse Jamaica's progress, dog jam we suffer. Some old man said responsibilities are not a detachable burden. So the government have to take responsibility. But don't hug up PNP failure. Labor rights, don't hug it up. Don't make the PNP blame you for the things they did. Do not accept the PNP jacket. What the Labour Party is doing is accepting PNP jacket. A PNP jacket. Don't accept no jacket. I know you pick, I know if you pick me. Don't take it. PNP was irresponsible and they leave a broken child. A PNP pick me. PNP pick me. And they pick me bad. Pick me bad. Out of hand. Now no manners. He can't read. He's sick. And he unruly. And you have to tell the world, say, no, for me pick me this. We get him when he was 18 and a half. And let me tell you something. If you're going to adopt a child, they tell you, you know, don't take him too old. Take him when he's a baby. Because you can't mold one 18-and-a-half-year-old boy. No matter how you try. Because all the bad habits have been formed in that child. One of my listeners say a bar stool then is PNP jacket. Yes, we are going to try and fix him. And that is what we are trying to do. That is what the government is trying to do. But there is resistance. And in behavior modification, they'll tell you, you can't condition without cooperation. And the resistance is in the society. I can tell you, you know, that 18-year-old child is in every institution. Some of them are in the police force. Some of them are working in high offices of government. And they don't want to change. They want back their old father. When my daddy there? We're not where we need to be. But we are no longer where we were. And that's called progress. We need to do a philosophical and historical audit of Jamaica over the last 40 years. That's how we must build towards Singapore. If we're going to get to Singapore, we need to do a deep dive into the last 40 years. We need to examine the 22.5-year PNP rule, the collapse of the 90s, the psychology of the decline, and why the current government's job is realignment, not magic. Realignment. Jamaica is being realigned so it can speed on the road. Because if you think we can go speeding towards development without realignment, you make a sad mistake. We have to realign the society first before we begin to experience economic growth and development. I tell you this. If the government of Jamaica printed money and gave many people a couple $1 million, it would make them better. Realignment is necessary. Social realignment, moral realignment, ethical realignment, spiritual realignment, psychological realignment. We have to realign the society. We have to PNP. I can't even call the word. The society is PNPism. We have to recalibrate the society out of PNPism. It's a cultural shift that is necessary. It's a psychological shift that is necessary. It's a shift that goes beyond education into inspiration. It is psychological. Because there are too many people in this society that believes in the PNP old dogma, and it's dead. That dogma is dead because in this geopolitical environment, that type of politics is no longer viable, you know. But it's mental. Social transformation must be paired with economic development. So you grow the society. You have to make the PNP irrelevant. You have to show that their type of politics is no longer acceptable, not viable, not saleable. I'm coming to you, listeners. I know I'm going a little long tonight. You know, Mark Carney spoke about nations being on the menu. And Jamaica was one of those nations. The menu of despair, the menu of discouragement, the menu of despondency, the menu of destruction. And I believe that wholeness deserves credit for rescue. I've told you before that there was a man at the pool of Bethesda for 38 years. 38 years he lied at the pool. He lay at the pool. 38 years. And when you lay in one place for 38 years, the place becomes familiar to you. There are people who are in prison, and they are in prison for so long that if you release them, they die. Because the mind adjusts itself to its environment. That is why, you know, to grow, your environment matters. And the PNP created an environment despair. You know what the Bible says? That Jesus went to the pool and said to the man, rise. You know what the man said? He said, sir, I have no man. I have no man. In other words, helplessness became a failure of the society. For wherever you see human helplessness, there is always human selfishness. But after 38 years, he picked up his mat. Listen to me carefully. And walked. And I'm saying to Jamaica tonight, walk. Something important about that text that I want to share with you. The Bible said the man walked. He never walked back to the pool, you know. He left it. The pool of despair created by the comrades, walk away from it. Walk away. Don't go back. Do not go back to the pool of poverty, the pool of crime, the pool of unemployment, the pool of murder. Don't go back. Walk. And keep walking. Keep walking. Because if we keep walking, we will get to Singapore. But if we keep going back, we have to keep walking Jamaica. For 40 years, Jamaica was on the menu. Consumed by death, decay, and dependence. What this government is doing is what Mark Carney called it, coming off the menu and getting on the table. It's a rescue mission, and the Prime Minister deserves credit, not blame, because he has to be patching the holes in the boat while rowing it to shore. Imagine that you are given a boat. Your job is to row it across the river. But when you get in the boat, you realize the boat has holes. Do you stop and wait? Or do you patch the holes while you are rowing the boat? And that is the difficulty that Holness has. He has to be patching while rowing. The job of this government is to patch and row, patch and row, patch and row, patch and row. And that is why credit is due to them. The Prime Minister inherited a boat full of holes, but he didn't dock it. He had to row it. Difficult hand he was given, because people still needed health care, children still needed to go to school, park program wanted to be improved, people were dying all over the country, debt like what? He had to patch the fiscal hole, patch the health hole, patch the infrastructure hole, patch the security hole, patch the education hole, patch the pothole, patch the... We can patch on. All while rowing. Patching police station, patching fire station, patching old Brockland bus, patching fire truck. All while rowing. And while he's delivering service, COVID came on, inflation, global shocks. And Melissa, what are you talking about? You know, I'm going to wrap up. I have I'm not out of I am not out of words, I'm out of time. I could say a lot more. But let me end with this. Adam Smith said nations prosper when they move from consumption to production. Nations prosper when they move from consumption to production, from dependence to industry. And that is what off the menu on the table means. For too long we asked, what can the world do for Jamaica? Now the question is, what can Jamaica do for itself? Well, here is the psychology problem. When you have been on the menu for 20 years, you get used to it. And so when someone tries to get you to the table, you complain that the chair is uncomfortable. You blame the rower for the holes he didn't make. You know, if you go to the country, and respect to the country girls, you are fantastic and you're beautiful, and you find a girl who have never ate in a uptown restaurant where the courses are 5, and when you sit at the table there are 5 pieces of cutlery, and she only knew about eating with a spoon. You can't blame her too much if she you shouldn't do that. No, you shouldn't take a girl from the country who not used to that and take her to the uptown restaurant first. Don't do that. You will embarrass her. I tell you, I will leave that alone. Let's go to leave that alone. Yeah. The same thing with guys. Same thing with guys. And ladies, you know it's true. I'm telling you. You know it's true. I'm talking. There are some guys that will embarrass you. You have to ease them into it. You know? Ease them into it. Yeah. Anyway, let's hear what the callers have to say. Yeah, Winston. Let's hear what the callers have to say. We are, oh my God, 12 minutes. Producer, tell me who I have first, because I don't even know. I know I don't have a lot of time left, and I went too long tonight. Why did you make me go, producer? Why you make me go tonight so long? You should have stopped me, man. I have so
Hi,
much.
good evening, neighbor.
Yes, you give me more time tonight. What's happening?
Well, how much needed to be said, neighbor?
Yeah, and so much more need to be said, Caroline. The story of Jamaica has not been analyzed properly, and it hurts, you know, Caroline. Believe me, it hurts me. It hurts me when I
Sure
listen to the hypocritical people making it appear as if to say somehow the problems that we have as a society came about over the last 10 years. That is dishonest.
It really is, neighbor. But before you go to the listeners, please allow me to welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. And for those of you on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our new channel, Politics Matter, JA. And for you on TikTok, please tap share, repost, send a heart knees. And also a very special good evening to my friend Stretch, who is listening. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Stretch.
Enjoying the show.
Hello, Stretch. How
All
you
right,
doing?
so
Yeah.
listeners, please continue to tap and share and repost.
All right. So who do we go to first? Caroline, please remember that I am a long talker, so I will talk to each person for 30 minutes. And I don't.
Well,
let's
neighbor,
see if we can
I'm
clear.
not sure about the order.
Let's see if we can clear.
Not sure about the order, but
Oh.
knowing me, I would definitely go to Scratchy
Oh,
first.
no, all right. You see, because okay, let's leave Scratchy. Okay.
No, they're not offended at all, Scratchy.
No, Winston, go on. Brother Winston.
All right.
You to Winston.
Yes. Okay. Hello, Winston. Go ahead. Good.
and to the moderator and to all the one that in the box.
Yes.
So, neighbor,
Uh-huh.
sitting here and listening to you, neighbor,
Yes.
I realize how lacking my country is at the moment
Yes.
in terms of our people to think critically and objectively to understand the status quo that is at hand. When Patricia Duncan can make her statement and people will gravitate to her,
Yes.
it just show you how narrow some of our people thinking are.
Yes, sir.
You understand? You see, neighbor, what we must understand, neighbor, we must understand the situation where Jamaica is coming from
Uh-huh.
and where Jamaica is presently at. At one stage, neighbor, we were spending 70 cents out of every dollar just for the services from the budgeting here.
70 cents. 70 cents out of every dollar.
70 cents out of every dollar.
Uh-huh. You know, I heard a nurse saying to me yesterday that there was a time when her salary was paid by the private sector. Lasco and Grace Kennedy and Red Stripe had to be paying public sector workers. What a shame, sir.
So neighbor, that's the reality and that's where we are coming from as a country.
Uh-huh.
Neighbor, the next thing that I wanted to point out that healthcare is the second largest chunk of the budget.
Yes.
Of this fiscal year, and it is from last year into this year. Okay, we have education at the top.
Yes.
Followed by healthcare. Neighbor, the thing what happened is, neighbor, we are trying to match apple with oranges in this country. If we want to have a 5-star health service, neighbor, the question must be, are we willing to pay for it?
Yes.
Are we willing to pay for it? We see where 41% of the Jamaican economy was wiped out last year by Melissa Hurricane.
Yes, sir. More than 41%. I think it's 53 or 56.
Okay. So I'm going off for the whole number, neighbor, because the number keep reviving. And look at it, this neighbor. The government come to the people and say, this is the situation.
Uh-huh.
And for us not to knee-jerk the economy, we're going to tax you and take a little more from you so we can continue to provide you with the service and not to contract the economy any further. And listen how the people react. Listen to how the people react. So the thing is, neighbor, how is it that we are demanding? How is it that we are demanding top service, neighbor? And at the same time, our people are not willing to pay for it. Where the government should get the money from to provide us with that type of service.
Yeah. Well, it is going to come.
The conversation that we must have.
Yeah, it is going to have to come from greater productivity, sir, and growing of the economy, because if you and I think that government can print money or government can just borrow and spend, then we have a sad guess coming. That's why we are where we are now today. We have to produce our way out of it, sir.
You know,
How men organize to produce the means of their subsistence constitutes the fundamentals of society. Not how men organize to borrow some or how men organize to beg, but how men organize to produce. We have to ramp up production, sir. It can't take you 20 minutes to get a party in Jamaica. And while I'm at it, let me tell you this. Near where I live, sir, you cannot go to any of the ATM machines and get $1,000 to draw any morning or lunch. It's a disgrace. I must tell you the truth. It is one of the things that needs to fix in Jamaica. The ATM machines, them don't work. You have to stand up there and wait.
It's right across Jamaica.
It's a problem. It's a problem, sir. How can you have a 21st century economy and 11, 12 o'clock the machines don't service? Huh? You want to send $2,000 to give your daughter a Kingston for school and you can't send it through a machine, sir? I don't know. Anyway, these are some of the things that we have to deal with, sir. We talk about production and productivity, Have to fix it.
You know, neighbor, as you just quote that famous saying that all men organize to create means and their subsistence. Marty Perkin usually repeat this every single day on his program.
Oh,
And unfortunately, neighbor, Jamaicans at large never really get the gist of it. You understand? Because we see where in the 90s, under PJ Patterson and Omar Davis, they practiced voodoo economy and they were lauded for this. Many people in high places was congratulating them from the university, from media, all over in society.
uh-huh.
At the end, neighbor, when the center could no longer hold, we know what the results were, right? When the tough measures have to be implemented by the Bruce Golden-led administration. And Andrew Owens continue with that up to today. And we are here now trying to turn the corner. You understand, neighbor? But neighbor, in final, I just want to say that it's going to take us some time before we can rid ourselves of the Michael Manley syndromes. It is still live and kicking, and we have to try our best not to make that syndromes captivate the mind of our young people. Let our people know that they have to focus on their education, focus on skill training, and become productive. The only productivity can take us to that vision to become the Singapore of the Caribbean.
Before you go, Winston, I'd love to hear you on the whole matter of the realignment, which is painful. And you know as well as I do that to inflict corrective measure, it comes with a little bit of pain, which you have to kind of, sometimes syrup. When I was growing up, you know about cirrhosis up. We used to get bitter medicine, but then they try to sweeten it a little bit. The same bitter medicine, they just put a little sugar in it for it to be a little bit more palatable. Am I not correct, Winston, that I think we are avoiding the realignment, the painful realignment, and it's time for us to deal with it? That the society cannot move forward without correcting certain things?
Yes, neighbor. I believe so too, neighbor. But you see, tell a neighbor, to be honest with you, the problem that I am having, I do not believe that enough of the government minister is articulating the necessary things that need to be done. I think too much is left on the Prime Minister to tell the people what need to get done for us to go forward as a country.
Yeah, but we are in the first. We are almost complete. Sorry, we have almost completed the first year of the government, the new government. I think that by year 3, the re-election campaign is going to be well on. I believe that governments, if they are to administer certain bitter medicine, have to do it in year 1, or year 2. Not true?
Yes, Nero. Yeah.
So that you
So
give the
by time
people.
you come around to an election, you can start add the sweetener to it.
Well, yeah. I think that there are several things, and I probably will use one of these evenings to address some of the things that need to be done in the society, because we can't talk about Singapore and don't realize that there has to be social changes, so there has to be behavioral changes in the society. Singapore did not become Singapore by just meandering along like this. The country draft up a path forward that everybody have to obey. You can't speak on the street in a Singapore, sir.
And so, neighbor, and we need legislation, neighbor, to support some of this thing going forward.
No. And I can challenge that. I can challenge that, Winston, because part of the problem with a lot of our societies today is that laws do not change behavior, And if you institute laws before you correct behavior, what you get is rebellion. You see, even the Road Traffic Act.
Yeah.
There's a problem, sir, with how you introduce legislation without understanding people's behavior. Did you know that you cannot go into Spanish Town today and say to the higglers, come off the street? Can't happen, you know. So what if there's a law that should come out in Jamaica and say you can't sell on the street? You think it would have happened? You would have rebellion.
Yes, because you have to provide somewhere first for them to sell.
Not right, not only that. So you have to first adjust the behavior of the people before you introduce the law. What we have been doing is introducing laws to correct behavior. Laws don't correct behavior, because if it did, there would be no one unalived. Because what the law say, if you commit certain offenses, this is going to happen to you. People don't do that. Crime continues. What you need is behavior change, sir. Behavior
neighbor,
change.
seriously, how we go about that, neighbor? Because I remember
It can be done, sir. It can be done. It can be done.
When PJ launched Paul's in school, neighbor, before Paul even get any traction, the government backed off. So how can we go about to start to bring about behavioral changes?
Yeah, we have to spend another night talking about that. But let me tell you this: what you do, sir, is that you develop what are called norms for the society. You see, we are about to get into our independence celebration. What if we should, as a society, say to every citizen, for the next 3 months, we're going to work on no citizen must dispose of their garbage on the road. Let us start with that. Let us say, Jamaica, we are going to clean up Jamaica. And it's not a punishment that you're going to be prosecuted for, but every man is going to be accountable to every man. And when you see your brother do it, say, man, don't do that, man. And we are going to say, first thing we are going to do as a society, we are going to say, for the next 3 months, no Jamaican must throw out any box out of in car. Just do that. And after 3 months, we say, all right, it start get ingrained in the society now. We say, all right, it take root, because that's how you change behavior. And then you say, all right, 6 months. And then I bet you say after 6 months, you see less box on the road and less can trash and all of that. And then you move to something else. Let's give you another one. Let's say we say this could solve a lot of traffic problem, that we say to Jamaicans in every town across Jamaica, stop, walk across the street. Like that. Just make we change that behavior. And the parish council goes in, mark the road, put up some signs in the towns and say, people, for the next 1 year, in every town across Jamaica, here are the places that you cross the streets. You don't think so? People can learn it, sir? Brethren, you can't go at the airport. You can't go at the airport, go board the plane, except you join the line. Don't tell me about unruly. Rules are introduced to people and they will obey the rule. Sir, when you go to the bank, if you go to the bank, can you go into the bank and cut the line and be unruly? Can you do it? No. You can't do it, sir. And let me ask you a question. When you go to the tax office, if you collect your ticket and sit down and wait till your number call?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's the same people, the same unruly people. What you have to do, sir, is to establish the norm. I went to a Chinese shop today. And I said to the Chinese man, I said, well, a foolish is not going there, sir. A foolish is not going there, sir. A man can come in and come buy one crate of soda and wait half hour to get it. You don't have no system. You don't have no system, sir. Everybody just come do what they want to do. And that is what is happening a lot in Jamaica. And that is part of the realignment that needs to take place. Because when you go to other societies, you see it. I remember being in the United States and somebody said to me, say, I go see one juice box around here, so And I say, you mad? They say, yeah, I see one. And I stayed there for 2 weeks. I never see somebody throw out a juice box. Are those people better than us? No. We have been taught that this is acceptable. And we have to unlearn those behaviors, sir. It's easy to learn, you know. It is difficult to unlearn, but we have to start. We need to establish norms and encourage our people to act that way. Because when they go to other countries, they have to adopt.
Totally agree with you, sir.
Yeah, that's how you start,
change,
Mister.
Change must begin, neighbor.
Uh-huh.
Like now.
You know, sir, if you have your children at home and they I say to parents that they should do this. They should do three things. One is what I call consistent expectation. The other is structured living, and the third is responsibility. That's how you grow children, with structure, consistency, and responsibility. What you do at home, you see, is that you create a structure for your child. The time he is to get up in the mornings, and the time he goes to bed, the time he plays, the time he eats, the time he studies, the time he watches TV, how much time he used to spend on his phone, how much time with his friends. Create the structure. If you don't create the structure, the picnic grow wild. And when you try to correct him when he's 10-year-old, him develop resistance.
Start to rebel, absolutely.
Him start to rebel against you. And because I'm going to wonder how she ever come tell me that no, because I have learned to do it. And let me tell you, if your child is 2, bedtime, 11 o'clock, no man, you set that as the parent. Open fridge? No, you don't do that in my house. Snacks? Oh, no. Snacks time is not your time.
But neighbor.
Brethren, eh?
But neighbor, when you ask somebody, put it in the comment, when you're seriously looking at neighbor, you know one of the problem we have in this country as well to neighbor, everything is leave on central government.
Well,
we have local government, which is very integral in the governance of our country.
Yes.
But have you ever hear anything positive coming out of local government?
Well, no.
From the mayor?
No, sir, we don't.
Because neighbor, why is it that, as somebody type in the comment, why is it that parish by parish, municipality by municipality, don't say let us have a competition and see which parish can be the cleanest parish for the month of January or the month of February, and you put in restriction and the proper education, the proper garbage collection, the proper disposal mechanism. Why these things are not happening, neighbor? Is this thing beyond us, neighbor, the country and other people?
No, you see, we need more wholenesses. What we have here is a prime minister who is a visionary, but he needs help. And let me tell you part of the problem in Jamaica. The prime minister has to be fighting the opposition. I know my moderator wants me to move on, but you know, sir, in the Bible, there's a story about Moses and a man named Hor. I think it's Hor. The Bible says, you see, that Israel was fighting, and when Moses held up his hand, Israel won. And when his hand was held down, Israel started to lose. And they realized that if Moses' hands were not held up, they might lose. Sir, there are not enough people holding up the prime minister's hand, and that happened. You have to hold up the man's hand. You see the man who is leading? You have to hold up his hand. One man go upon him left, one man go upon him left, and one man go upon him right, and they held up his hand, and Israel prevailed. Jamaica will not prevail. Jamaica will not prevail, sir, unless more people hold up his hand. I see a drag down his hand. Civic Society a pull on him hand, and PNP a pull on him hand. Where are the people to hold up the prime minister's hand, sir? Where are they?
In closing, neighbor. Closing.
Yes.
After I make the statement, I will close my mind. Even when you look at the last parish council election, or close it was, at this moment in time, neighbor, we can't differentiate between the JLP-led council and the PNP-led council because they're all the same. The GLP mayors and councillors never set out to distinguish themselves different from the PNP. And so therefore, neighbor, and I think that the vision and the messaging should have come from the Minister of Local Government to say, hey, listen, the election was close. We can't continue to do things the same old same. We have to demonstrate to the Jamaican people that the Jamaica Labour Party, councillors and mayor are better managers. So we must distinguish ourselves separately apart from them. But I am not seeing that.
Thank you so much, sir. We have to take a break. We have to take a break. Yeah, we have to take a break. We're going to go to the producer for the regular announcement. Producer Caroline.
Yes, hi, good evening. Welcome again, everyone. Please tap the screen, share the live, repost the live. And for those on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our new YouTube channel, Politics Matter Jamaica. And all our listeners on TikTok, we're asking you to go to YouTube and subscribe to our new YouTube channel, please. We ask you. And the name is Politics Matters JA.
Fantastic. Great. So that's 7 minutes after 9 o'clock and 7 minutes after 10 in Florida. Where do we go now, producer?
Neighbor, it's entirely up to you.
All right, great. Okay. All right, let's go to Scratchy. Hello, Scratchy. How are you?
Night, neighbor, night, Carl, night, everyone.
Hi, man. How you doing? Hi, Harry.
Good night, everybody.
Hi, Astute. Hi.
Greetings, neighbor.
Okay, so let's just have an open discussion here. Guys, let's see if we can change up the format a little bit tonight and have a open discussion rather than the usual monologue. Let's just talk about the situation that I raised in the notes of the tendency to want to lay blame on the feet of the government for the challenges in the society. And it is not that leadership is about not accepting responsibility, but don't you think that we need to have a conversation as to the cause of these problems and how they originated, how they came into being, if we are going to be fair to the present structure and the present government? Who want to start?
Well, neighbor, I think it goes back to the age-old conversation about being civically literate. Because you have to understand, well, not only about civics and governance and politics, but overall intelligence and education and critical thinking. Because remember, there was a time when MPs used to come and say because their government is not in power, nothing can be done.
Yes.
Still, when you do an analysis, you see that they were given they have a constituency fund.
Yes.
That they did nothing with. That is one. Two, neighbor. In Jamaica, as opposed, Jamaicans are hard to govern in Jamaica. Reason being, I know someone who can turn some blocks, turn some things for me, and I get off on whatever charge that may be impending. But when I go to a country I'm not from, let us use the littering as an example. Our systems are so out of whack. So let me use Canada. When I visit Canada, Canada is one of the cleanest countries I've ever been to. However, one of the reasons, there are several reasons. One is civic pride. The other is that everywhere you walk, you see a bin. So even if you have litter in your hand and something comes to your mind to throw it on the ground, the bin is right there. That is not the case in Jamaica. Additionally, the laws did not have teeth. So there were archaic laws where when you break it, you have to pay $100 Jamaican dollars. Those laws were written from in the early 1900s. So you find that a broken system with laws that don't have teeth, with an unruly populace, leads to many ills in our country.
Yes.
Coupled, added with the lack of education. Now, what the opposition or the alternative government, the People's National Party, depends on is the fact that most people are undereducated. Because should they step up and be able to reason on a particular level, then they'll realize that, oh, but that is the duty of the MP. Oh, but that is the duty of the councillor.
Uh-huh.
That is the duty. And they don't want that. So we see that this is a multifaceted challenge. It is not just a one-time issue. So even what you also find in a neighbor, the vision of the current Prime Minister has far outpaced the mental capacity of the people. They are still stuck.
He's a man. He's a man. He's a man. He's a man. He's a man before his time.
Most definitely.
Uh-huh.
I deem him as one of the greatest prime ministers. If not
But isn't that what leadership
prime
is about, though? Astute, to carry people along.
It is, but you can, if you're trying to carry people who are resistive, and no matter how you show them in real time the benefits of the vision, because it's not only in abstract, he has done things. We have seen tangible things happening, yet still people are still talking buffoonery. So not only did he present a vision in abstract, he has now brought to fruition that vision. We have seen crime gone down. Right now the crime stats are 291 and we're past halfway through the year.
Yes.
Normally that is unheard of.
Yeah, we will be over 1,000.
Almost half of the year. There's so many things. Roads. I'm driving through Jamaica, Manchester, Clarendon, all over, and some of the roads that I remember back in the days were just tracks.
Yes.
Are carpet. Even in some of the most hilly interior of the island, carpet. So we're seeing tangible things happening, yet still people still cannot change their mind because you always speak about it, the patronage and the clientistic nature of our politics, the mindset of our people. It's hard to change. They love the brown paper bag story. They love for a man to just carry it. Look at the situation with the nurses and what happened with the president of the Nurses Association of Jamaica. The lady is speaking as though our woes started today or yesterday. I worked in the public sector in healthcare.
In Jamaica, you work in the healthcare sector here?
Yes, in pharmacy. And I wouldn't even tell you what I put it this way. What I was working, half of my monthly salary went to transportation alone. Not to mention within the class in terms of promoting to a different level. It was so hard because nobody is retiring. So people stay in their posts for years, for decades. And in order for you to be promoted, somebody has to vacate the spot so you can move up. So I would have been stuck in a system that I can barely survive off. Yet still, this lady is going to speak as though no, it's not one of the best times for public sector workers. One of the sweeping reforms, highest wage increase in the history of the public sector. And under the government where because she's a political activist, under the government where she support, we had years of wage freezes. I remember when Omar used to come to budget presentations and he must say, well, we have another year. We have to ban rebellion and ball. I remember Portia Simpson Miller said that we have to ban rebellion and ball. We have to go deal with taxes because the effects of the 90s had a multiplier effect. Not only did it affect the money aspect of our economy, but it affected the mindset of our people.
Yes.
We started to live in a place of scarcity.
Yes.
We started to live in a place of survival.
Yes.
We're just trying to live to see another day. So even though today we are seeing people progressing leaps and bounds, you still have people who want to go back to that time. It shall not happen, neighbor. So that is what I think is the challenge. Our people are not educated, and that is why it is so important that we fix our education system so that the youth of tomorrow or the youth of today, who are going to be the adults of tomorrow, can understand civic pride, can be in the know when it comes to civics, which is governance and politics, because a lot of people don't understand that politics is in everything, because politics refers to governance.
Politics matters, sir. Politics matters.
Politics matters.
Politics.
So that is my 2 cents, neighbor.
Okay.
That is my 2 cents.
All right. Yeah. Member Harry?
Yes, neighbor. I look at it and I want to segue a little into leadership, neighbor.
Yes.
Because the truth is, the issue we're facing, and we've had an answer through Andrew Holness, is that the future belongs to leaders who can dream boldly, neighbor, while acting practically, right? And we don't have 2 of those because the opposition leader is not that, right? And great leaders, you don't give orders. What you do in the case of Dr. Andrew Holness is that he has caused Jamaicans to dream again, to hope again. Because the truth is, if we look at murders, anybody listening here tonight, right? None of us thought we could have gotten below 700. A decade ago, nobody here, and I can speak literally, no one here ever dreamt that we could have done that in a decade, because we were so used to what high numbers are. It was a norm. So much of a norm, neighbor, that we didn't even bother try challenge it. We just accept it for what it is and live within it, right? Find our ways in and around a society so marred and skewed that took away the life out of the dreams that people had. And that was injected by a different type of leader who we have now. And we've seen changes, neighbor, especially in the healthcare systems and so on. Because the truth about it is that if we are to look at the political aspect of it, 18 and a half years of People's National Party, and they have not improved the beds in hospitals, right? In fact, the numbers went down under them. The hospital that was in St. Thomas moved from 180 to 40 beds. And they blamed it on just the hurricane, but over 18 and a half years, you couldn't have improved it. So when I hear somebody like Mrs. Sutherland speaking on these matters, she's a generation well ahead of mine, and she had no hand in improving it for my generation. So how dare she come and speak on these things as if she was a moving factor in the right way? She was a bystander, operating with blind lens. And I can tell you, she doesn't use the public health system, neighbor. She doesn't. So she can't speak of the reality of Jamaicans like that.
Absolutely.
You know, if we're to look deep down, neighbor, this year, KPH is going to be 250 years. Right? That's a hospital that has done its time.
Yes.
And we have to not necessarily move away from it.
Yes. Built by the colonial people.
From 1776.
Can you imagine?
Right?
Can you imagine, sir?
No, neighbor, the Cornwall Regional was built to last 70 years. It has gone over 50 years.
Good God. Say that again.
These are the things that people need to understand.
Yeah, and which hospital have we built in Jamaica since independence?
Neighbor, the only one would have been that of Maypen that they want to call it. Before that, it was the Lindsay Hospital, right?
So the hospital, all of the hospitals, therefore, would be. I mean, Spanish Town is why I tell you. Listen, no man. You know, I've heard the Prime Minister speaking about, talking about sovereignty and whether or not we can really talk about being sovereign when our hospitals were built by our colonial masters, and we haven't built any new ones really. We may have refurbished a little here and there, but Who built our roads and our hospitals and gave them to us?
Neighbor, infrastructure and maintenance was never a thing in the past, right? And when you look at something being moved, they're saying we're not doing much in terms of improving healthcare and whatever. There's a new fund coming just for maintenance. You know what's the argument around that? Oh, who's going to watch the money? Who's going to be accountable? These are the arguments we're looking at, not looking at the fact that it is being put in place. There will be things and framework for accountability put there. But all we're focusing on is that we want to watch the money. Nobody thought about the fact that if you have a $1 billion fund just for maintenance, the first it has been done in Jamaica's history, nobody speaks about it, right? Failure to maintain the infrastructure that we have has put us in this place. It's not everything you have to build something new, but we are at the stage where we have to be building everything new. We have no choice. Everything has outlived its lifespan. And as such, you can't continue to patch it up. Neighbor, you spoke earlier about patch up this, patch road, patch that. The healthcare sector is not something where we are today in Jamaica that can handle any more patch.
Yeah, and that's what we found out at Cornwall Regional, that patching was not going to work anymore.
Was never. They budgeted $2 billion for the repair work. When they took down that part, they realized if we fix here, the next section will be gone shortly after. And as such, they removed it. We couldn't rebuild a brand new Cornwall Regional from scratch. So we had to push a repair, kept the framework, and did it. And people saying move from 2 billion to 20 billion. Yes, it had to be done.
Yes.
Now, can we speak in terms of time frame? Nothing good in building something, neighbor. You can't do it good and fast and cheap. You don't get all three. Right? The most you get is 2. You will get it fast, you'll get it good. Right? But it won't be cheap. It will be expensive and fast, but it will take time. You will never get all 3. And it's sickening to see people, and I'm speaking of those who know these things, right? And the intellectually disingenuous persons, they know these things and they refuse to go ahead and have conversations around these things. Now that hospital is going to come on board. Jamaica's health system in terms of infrastructure is being built out. We can't do everything all together. Not everything will be done at the same time. Different sections, different areas, but at the end of the day, improvements are coming. And I'm sick and tired of hearing people wanting to hold this administration more accountable than ever before. You'd be thinking that this is right after independence, where everybody has to be held accountable. I've never heard in my lifetime over 3 decades, neighbor, where the word accountability used so much in Jamaica yet. And it's funny how it is coming at a time when proper development is being done. So what about back then? Well, we never have the mindset, nobody cared. And we don't see the fact that the lack of these things is what got us here. Poor management, mismanagement, misappropriation of funds. Everybody just doing as they please. Because what? We can survive another day. It don't matter what the big man up at top do. From me can put a food on my table. Me alright. That is a mindset that got us here. That is a mindset we still have to be fighting, because the change has not been done. Right? The alignment, as you put it, neighbor. Remember, what we've been able to accomplish in the last decade in terms of managing under critical circumstances where you have your country shut down under COVID. You lose 56% of your GDP from Melissa, right? You've been placed in ad hoc situations consistently, and you're able to structure the country in such a way where you're not in survival mode, but you're able to build out and look more attractive coming out of all of these disasters, neighbor.
Yes.
18 and a half years before that, none of this existed. And people need to stop the gimmickry and the foolishness about money this and money that. It was a disaster back then. That is why we're here today, and what we've seen done in 10 years, we have to appreciate it. And I think more people are unappreciative. I think they've gotten so comfortable, neighbor, to better living standards than before.
Uh-huh.
You see the people who went through the 80s, 90s appreciate what is here. But you see the one that were born late 90s and so on, neighbor, who never really get to see the core of that. Take it for granted that this is the norm and everything will be better. No. There's a level of sacrifice that is still required by every person to get us to where we ought to be. Some of us will never ever get to see it. And that's fine. That's life. We have to accept that. But don't let it be said that we did not put in our own shift to make Jamaica better again.
But quite true. Scratchy?
Yes, neighbor.
For the past 40 years, Scratchy, 24 years, PNP, Labour Party, 16. The problems of Jamaica don't belong to the Labour Party.
Definitely not, neighbor. The problems.
Let's look, for example, at the problems in health sector, in the healthcare. Miss Duncan is making it seem as if, you know, the Jamaica Labour Party is responsible for the challenges in healthcare. That's a dishonest argument.
Very, very dishonest argument, neighbor. If you look at our healthcare, neighbor, you don't have to look at our healthcare, but look at our governance system. It's the People's National Party, neighbor, who managed to rule over Jamaica for an extended period of time, about 18 and a half to 19 years. And the key thing that we must speak about within that 18 to 19 years, neighbor, is that was a period of time, neighbor, where there were uninterpreted growth that was supposed to hit Jamaica, neighbor, in terms of there weren't much external or global politicking that was going on during that time, neighbor. We didn't get any major natural disaster during that time either, neighbor.
Hold on, please, my brother Scratchy. Let's try and correct the last 40 years. Because I see some comments in the comment. We talking about the PNP winning government in 1989, correct? And then they governed for 18 and a half years. No, so?
Yes.
And then Bruce Golding came and he did what, 4 years?
4 years, yes.
And then Portia came and did 4.
Yes.
So you add 4 to 18 and a half. How much is that?
22 and a half.
Right. And then the Jamaica Labour Party have been in power now for 10 plus 4. That is 14.
14. Yes.
So that's 22 and a half as against 14.
That's against 14.
Right. So that is the PNP governing for 22 and a half years and the Labour Party for 14. So therefore, Scratchy, to suggest that the health sector is where it is and the Labour Party must accept the blame for it is disingenuous.
Definitely, neighbor. Because I was saying, neighbor, it was the PNP who ruled over Jamaica for an extended period of time. And during an extended period of time, neighbor, no proper maintenance plan was put in for hospitals or our health sector in totality or in general. You know, even their current spokesperson, neighbor, on health, it was no less a person than himself, neighbor, who came out and made mention that, neighbor, that he had to be wearing, neighbor, garbage bag as surgical gowns, you know, because there weren't any surgical gowns provided to the hospital at the time. And during that time, neighbor, it was the People's National Party that is now currently a part of was in power. So definitely, even when you look at even having a very, very bad situation, a very sad situation, you look at even how chicken gonna manage to get out of control, neighbor. It is very difficult for PNP to manage these type of things because of how they run down the health sector. When you look at even a very sad moment again, the dead baby saga. When you look at the very unfortunate situation, neighbor, the amount of babies that lost their lives as a result of a bacterial outbreak within the hospital, in the theater where mothers were being admitted in theaters to have babies. They couldn't control that either, neighbor. So when you look at, neighbor, and compare in terms of management and compare the breakdown of the health sector, neighbor, it is as a result of the People's National Party. And 4 years just in power, about 2020, the Jamaica Labour Party faced one of the biggest global health crisis ever in the world, in no less than COVID-19. It wasn't just because of the rules that was put in place, that saved a lot of lives, in Jamaica. It wasn't just rules, it was also because from 2016, when the government took office, to 2020, the health sector was seen as a major priority for the government, and the government was already putting things in place and making the necessary steps, That is why we came out of COVID looking so good. In these persons lost their life, there was a lot more, it could have been worse. But it is not just because of Andrew Wallace and the government saying that going by 9 o'clock or lockdown and this day, I don't move and this day, It is as a result, of how our health sector was so strong, where it could stand up, and stood up to a magnitude healthcare like this. I can tell you, if COVID-19, and it was 2013, 2014, it would have been a total different ball game, because it's something that was so local as a chikungunya virus that they could not control, I just can't see. I couldn't see them managing COVID-19, especially with the condition that the health sector was in at the time. It would have been a total anarchy in Jamaica. I would have to seek international help. It would have been an embarrassment on us.
Yeah, in terms of how the Jamaica Labour Party responds to someone like Patricia Duncan Sutherland, who obviously is on the rebound or trying to reignite her political career, which will never be reignited, by the way. Any way you think that the party should respond? I am suggesting here tonight that I think that PNP bloggers and should just stop talking to them, Scratchy. Let them run their own show and talk to themselves. You don't think so?
My reason for not being concerned whenever the PNP them come with these type of things, because I have to look at the whole thing and say to myself that if I was someone who come from space and didn't understand what was going on in Jamaica, I would definitely think that that the Jamaica Labour Party is a government that is in political trouble. I would not.
Based on how the PNP is pushing it.
Based on how the PNP is pushing, if I came from space, and came to Jamaica, I think the Jamaica Labour Party is in big trouble.
That is true.
I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't have the slightest idea that this is a third-term government. I wouldn't have the slightest idea that these guys won an election 8 months ago. I wouldn't have the slightest idea because of how the PNP is behaving. So I am not one who's worried about the PNP, because when I look at it, one thing I know about politics, people don't vote in opposition party, people vote out government. And I just can't see Jamaicans voting out the Jamaica Labour Party at this moment, And if you look at even the last election results, I can tell you that going to Jamaica, going to the next election, it is advantage team Jamaica Labour Party all the way. Those 14
You think so?
I strongly believe so, neighbor. If you look at how the political landscape is right now, neighbor, those 14 constituencies, that the People's National Party want to make 28 in the last general election a couple months ago, None of those constituencies going into 2030 can be considered as a safe seat, neighbor.
Yes, you're right.
Not one, not one.
Well, we want the listeners to stay tuned to the Politics Plus network, because we're going to be getting to that, definitely.
Yes,
when we start doing our constituency review. You are quite correct, Scratchy.
Yes.
The raw politics favors the Labour Party.
The raw politics favors the Labour Party, neighbor. I want the Jamaica Labour Party to find good candidates, neighbor, to put in these constituencies, neighbor. I am telling you, neighbor, the PNP have a big problem coming. When you look at the people who have a problem and who continuously to cry about the Jamaica Labour Party policy and program, it's one set of people. It is one set of people, and I get to realize that there is nothing that you can say to change these people's mind. Anything that the leader push and the party push, you can't say nothing to change nobody from our Golden constituency mind. You can't say nothing to change anybody from Angela Barrow constituency mind. You can't say nothing to change none of the PNP, the Motor Parwell side, no mind. They already make up their mind. Information in Jamaica is received with bias based on your political allegiance. That's how a lot of these people take information. You know why it seems like the PNP is winning? Because the people who know what is right, the persons who know the truth, they are silent. They are silent. They don't speak out about these things. They don't come and highlight whatever is good. Why I know the government have this compensation package, and the compensation package makes so many public sector workers, so many persons get a large increase in their salary. Why I can't see people that post these things and talk about these things? Why? Why? Early on, Winston said that create cleanest parish competition. Yeah, but those things are not government problem in the neighbor. Those things are called, those things are institution problem in the neighbor. Those things are NSWMA. And them supposed to create those type of things. I can't expect the minister, cabinet minister to come about cleanest parish competition. Those things are driven by the technocrats of the NSWMA. You say something you say something so profound since night. We say that the country need more Anjouaness. The country definitely need more Anjouaness, neighbor. If a lot of the persons who hold certain technical office who call themselves technocrats who are the head of agencies and departments in Jamaica, neighbor, if they have the ability to think like the Prime Minister, neighbor, or to be a visionary like the Prime Minister, our advancement
You're right.
should be moving at a more
You're right, because what prevents the head of the NSWMA to go to take on a national cleanup drive and a national tree planting drive and something that gets Jamaica involved? What prevents him from doing that?
Exactly, that should be coming from the cabinet.
Right.
That is not the duty of cabinet.
Because you have an executive director that is responsible.
Executive director who have a funding, who have a budget neighbor, and he's supposed to know how to expel that budget to the best interest.
And be creative. Be creative.
And be creative, and that is what is lacking. Keyword they just call. Everybody can be leader. All of them claim to them a leader neighbor, but they don't want to have any creativity. And Jamaica is failing neighbor from our technocrats who were certain important roles. They lack creativity. They lack creating programs, creating plans that can make whatever them doing neighbor look good. Majority of the things that are being pushed in Jamaica neighbor, it's coming straight from the cabinet, you know.
Yes, and only when the Prime Minister speaks, you get any clarity or understanding where the government is going. Even some of the ministers are not very clear on direction.
Majority of what is being pushed in the advancement and the growth of Jamaica is coming directly from the cabinet. It is coming directly from the cabinet neighbor, and government alone cannot do it. We need persons who have some important roles in the office neighbor for put on them thinking cap and start create programs, create plans, create things that can drive and push what the government is doing. People need to feel, that's why you're the agencies and departments. You're supposed to be the one them who go up on the ground, go meet the people and spread the message. It shouldn't be Anjouaness or we keep press conference.
Not to mention, Scratchy, the mayors who are responsible for the town centers. They are not doing well at all.
If you look at any country across the world, especially let's talk about our hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere. If you look at how the Western Hemisphere is going, neighbor, look at all the majority of the countries in the Western Hemisphere, neighbor, and look upon all who consider themselves first class and all who is going good. The reason why these countries are functioning at an optimal level more than Jamaica, neighbor, is because it is more than one arm of government that is working, neighbor, and pushing the advancement of the country. In Jamaica, it is one arm of government alone that is working. Central government is the only arm of government that is working. Local government, neighbor, you have one of the best local government ministers you could ever ask for, but from a parish level neighbor in terms of the councillors them and the mayor's name and the authority and the power them hold, but different from what the leader from the minister can say to the neighbor. They are flapping this thing neighbor and holding back the advance. I was shocked neighbor when I hear the minister say that local government neighbor have 13 avenues to collect revenues neighbor. The government cannot tell them what to do or how to spend it.
Say that again.
Local parish councils neighbor have 13 avenues how they get revenues that the government cannot tell them how to spend.
You mean that every municipality collects money through 13 sources and central government can't tell them how to spend that money?
Can't tell them how to spend that money.
So what else can they do?
Oh, yes, I don't know. Yet still without getting anything from parish council. In 2026, a year say me I give counter 300,000 if we go in a division and go fix the road. Look at the road that can fix.
My goodness.
neighbor, the country is failing from the local level. Neighbor, central government is doing wonderful. Central government is doing so good. But from the local level, and not directly from the Ministry of Local Government, the autonomy power of the mayors, them own parish neighbor, them is failing this country. Them are hold back the country, them are set back the advancement of this country neighbor because they are not doing anything. And I think we have to change up this thing, is either we'll scrap it or we'll fix it. And I think there's a place for it in our country because all of the countries, if you look at Canada, if you look at America, if you look at England, they all have the same type of system.
Look at for example, the mayor in Britain there, sir, the man who is tipped to be the prime minister now, Andy Burnham, was the mayor of Manchester. And it was because of his work as a mayor why he's now becoming the prime minister of the United Kingdom.
Exactly, neighbor. Exactly. Mayors in Jamaica, neighbor, we also have a lot of bunch of old men, neighbor, who need to step away from this position. They are not visionary, neighbor. They are not technologically savvy. They don't understand technology, neighbor. They cannot manipulate technology, neighbor. Their vision, whatever vision they have, doesn't matriculate, doesn't match the way Jamaica is or is currently going. Not even Jamaica, neither the world by extension, in terms of the technologically advanced. These mayors, neighbor, if you look at majority of them across the board, neighbor, they don't have the skill or they are not equipped enough, neighbor, to move these parishes, neighbor, to where the parish want to go. You have mayors, and sometimes you people who live in the one parish don't even know the mayor them. There's a mayor not even active in the parish to know that they go to schools and a morning time of devotion. They make yourself present. Come on, neighbor, I see mayors have boast about drain where they make, neighbor, and stuff like that. Oh, please, man. Them failing us, neighbor. Jamaica, if central government, neighbor, could do even 25%, local government could to try to just push even 25 to 30% of what central government is doing, neighbor. We'd have see the big advancement of Jamaica. Big advancement. You think it would be easy for central government, neighbor, if central government knew that there's a road in Clarendon need to be fixed, and the road come to $100 million, and the Clarendon municipality can say, Mr. Prime Minister and central government, I can find $40 million, $60 million look too far.
Right, the partnership, eh?
You know how far that would have pushed us?
Yes. We have a caller, Chavez. Hello. Chavez? No, not there at all. All right, let's return to so Harry, you want to come in here?
Yes, neighbor.
Yes.
Here's the thing about it. A lot of people in government overall, neighbor, don't understand governance. Speaking specifically when it comes down to parish council, they are more archaic and will just continue to utilize the framework that is there. There's never been any revolution when it comes down to local government. Nothing in terms of drastic change has been done to improve the localities that they preside over. And that speaks to more so those who are the representatives, neighbor. Because when you look at it, it's just like how everybody, run go call an MP and hold MP accountable and that kind of stuff. Nobody even know who's the councillor. Most of the time, and I can tell you this, when there's a local government election, neighbor, majority of the people just go figure out who is at the head and who is at the bell. And probably one independent person. Majority of persons don't know who the councillor is, right? That is the reality that Jamaica is coming out of. There has been slowly some change, but that is the reality of it. And as such, when the time comes for you to hold these people accountable or to try and get information from them and so on, you can't find them. You don't know who they are. You don't know where they live. And I think it's about time we do something in terms of a framework that can hold mayors accountable, neighbor. Because when you look at it, and I want to bring the point of a Spanish Town, very little has been done via the parish council. Very, very little. And you want to know, Scratch, to speak of the revenue areas that they can get funding without central government speaking to them about it. But nobody knows where this money goes. Like, who is is holding them accountable in a way to ensure that specific works are being done. We aren't sure who. Because
I'm not to come to you in a hurry. To be fair to Harry, some of them Harry really not making no money because I cannot see in my mind, I can't see how you take up $220 million and spend on a market. And you have a man in the market and selling in the market, and that man makes 700,000, 800,000 a week and go home with. And fee market fee at $350 a week.
Which makes no sense.
Fee market fee at $350 a week, and he makes 700,000 for the week. He spend $200 million for the market. That's craziness.
No,
Yeah, and Scratchy, if you that is part of the realignment that I talk about. And if you hold a meeting with the people them now and start to say, hey, we have to do something about it. Politics gets involved.
Politics get involved because you have an opposition who come tell the government says madness, you the people pay $320 how long, don't increase the fee.
You know, neighbor. Earlier on today, I was on a live, sharing my views, my thoughts concerning local government. And let me tell you something, neighbor. You see, one of the biggest problems that we face in this country with our politics is the level of hypocrites. We are a set of hypocritical people. And that's a problem that we have. Because sometimes we're even afraid of having serious discussion so changes can come about. Many a times, neighbor, the both political party put up worthless candidate becomes councillor and member of parliament. But many a times, we the electorate will go out and vote on party preference, even though we know deep down that the councillor, let me use the word candidate, the candidate not cut it.
So we vote for the party. We vote for the party.
Yeah. And then now we suffer from the lack from these candidates. And that's the problem that we're having. And when social media now neighbor provide us with a platform so we can have meaningful discussion, voice our opinion, voice our disgruntledness. What happens is, neighbor, you will have people will come on and say, hey, this is not the platform for it. This is not the forum for that. The question that must be asked of the party, any one of the two of them, have they provide us with a platform where we can voice our opinion? None whatsoever. Because if you go to a political meeting, right, where you expect that all are
Winston's internet is giving him a little challenge. He's over there in Portland. I think his internet is giving him a little problem. Astute? Hold on. What? Yeah, hello? 11 minutes to 10 o'clock. Yes, sir. Who? Astute, go ahead.
Yes, neighbor, I wanted to say something about the municipalities. How is it that the collection of funds may seem to be so dismal, but yet still more had to clamp down on a fraudulent scheme that amassed up to $1 billion? Where that money came from? Remember, there was a big scandal in the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation where Mocha had to come in and seize computers and documents and so forth because they found out that there was a multi-million-dollar scheme. When they checked all the parish councils, it amounted to up to $1 billion Jamaican dollars. So how is it that they're able to collect that amount of money? How is it that they're able to misappropriate that amount of money yet we cannot see what the benefits within the local municipalities? Something is amok. There is no way that you are saying to me you are not doing your job properly which is collecting funds. As Kachi pointed out, 13 different avenues to generate funds. Yet still, when you look in the localities, we don't see any progress. We don't see any new buildings. We don't see any amenities that help the people. But yet still, there's misappropriation of $1 billion. How come? It shows again, neighbor, one of the key challenges we're faced with in Jamaica, and it is always in the municipalities headed by representatives of the People's National Party. And this is not a thing just now. This has been happening from the 90s. In the 90s, while there were scandals within government ministries, there were scandals in the municipal corporations, and even up to most recently, this was 2025, $1 billion from Westmoreland and St. Catherine and others headed by representatives of the People's National Party. Now, I say that to say this, neighbor. One of the key challenges I find that aids in the corruption is that most transactions are cash transactions. So there is no paper trail. When the municipality goes to collect funds for parking in the Spanish Town on Friend Street or whichever or on Young Street, you pay him $100 and then write it in a book if he so chose. How can you really track money that way? Again, I said it before and I will say it again. Our challenges start from systemic issues in the system. We have to move away from man going to collect money with hand and just write down something in a book because he can choose not to write it down and pocket it.
Yes, sir.
I remember the time I used to take.
That's true. Right in the bus park there, sir. There's a little lady sitting down in a little place collecting money with cash. I mean, I wonder how much of that cash really got through to the parish council at the end of the day. How you track it?
Exactly.
How you track it, sir? When every taxi man come in and say, hey, you go through, man. Go through, brethren. Go through and you give her 500 at the end of the day. It is a crazy system, sir.
You know, that's what I'm saying. So it shows that the system itself encourages corruption because Jamaicans have for a very long time, been in survival mode. Everything they have to hustle.
God is the greatest, sir. God is the greatest.
Last time I cut you, but you know them want to keep it that way though.
You mean the informality of the system?
Yes.
Yeah, you know the PNP want to keep it that way.
It breeds corruption, sir.
Not just the PNP, sir. Both sides. Both sides.
Well, you know, we have to cut it out. Listen to me. You know, these discussions may be a little. Yes. Scratchy?
Yes, neighbor.
They are hitting the party, sir. You think both sides need to cut it out?
One thing I'm going to say in the neighbor is that we have seen neighbor, probably neighbor the best local government minister that we ever seen neighbor the East of Jamaica. And we don't want to like it or not, neighbor. The reality, since we talk reality, governance alone can't do politicking, neighbor. They both go hand in hand.
Yes.
Politicking is what keep governance going or keeping government, isn't it? But it all comes to neighbor the seriousness of how one see the importance of restructuring something. And I'm sure that if anybody will see the need for this restructuring, neighbor, the Jamaica Labour Party, if the local government reform started with them, the Jamaica Labour Party is the one that made the most changes so far in the local government system.
And I think we need to acknowledge that we have to manage change. You have to manage it.
Yes, neighbor, we have to definitely manage it and balance it. We have to also understand, neighbor, that there's a constitution, there are certain authority that the local representative was to vote to themselves. The government cannot infringe upon. As the government will be breaching the constitution itself as well, you get me?
Yes.
So it's not something that is easily done, it is more easily said than done. But my thing, neighbor, is that it pains me to say this, neighbor, and I think, neighbor, and I believe, neighbor, that I think the government understand it, neighbor. at some point in time, neighbor, for Jamaica to grow the real way where we want to see, neighbor, our current governance structure, neighbor, is not in a position, neighbor, to propel Jamaica to where we want Jamaica to be in the time frame that we want Jamaica to be, neighbor. Even when you look at our current budget style of how we present our budget, neighbor, it has been the style, neighbor, from I believe from we gain independence till now. I think we have outgrown that style, neighbor, and I think it needs to be revamped and be contextualized to match the context and the reality, neighbor. I think, neighbor, that this one size fit all thing, neighbor, is definitely affecting Jamaica. Where all the budget is concerned, the budget is just read and funding is just given to organization, ministries, departments, and funding is done, neighbor. I think, neighbor, that for Jamaica to really get a full understanding of where our tax dollars is being spent, where our tax dollars is being impactful the most, where our tax dollars is running a waste, neighbor, it is full-time, neighbor, when it's time for our budget, neighbor. I believe that instead of hearing that this is going to be spent in the Ministry of Education, this is going to be spent in that, yes, that is good and everything, neighbor. But I think, neighbor, that I will need to have a breakdown, neighbor, from a parish by parish level. And I believe that that is where Jamaica is losing.
Yes.
We can't think that, neighbor, we can stay from Kingston or stay from Gardnerhouse or stay from the office of the cabinet and just push our hands and give St. Elizabeth what St. Elizabeth want and give Trelawney what Trelawney want, because what Trelawney want, neighbor, is not necessarily might be in the best interest of what Westmoreland need. So I think, neighbor, that in Jamaica need to be served, neighbor, from a case by point cases. That's how it should be set up. And I think that is why sometimes you look at certain things, you say, government might say them sit and do this, but we are not seeing it because government has to be so broad brush across. I think, neighbor, that we reach a stage where we have to start to bring this country, neighbor, from a parish level, so that even in the next 10, 15 years, even if the whole Jamaica don't reach a certain level of first world status, neighbor, we should have at least 3 or 4 parishes who we can say, yes, these parishes are a certain standard, these parishes are a certain level. We have to do it on that level, neighbor. We have to push this thing. I think our current budgetary style, our current governance system, we have outgrown it, and it is not serving the best interest of us, neighbor. We need to target parish by parish when it comes to our budget. How many money out of the budget that was read last time, neighbor, from the educational side is spent in Westmoreland and schools? Those information are not readily or easily available. How much is spent in Westmoreland on healthcare? How much is spent in Westmoreland on salary in terms of government workers? How much is spent in Westmoreland in terms of, these are the things that we need to know. So we have to really know where the waste is going, where we are reaping our best interest, and where we are getting the benefit from the dollars that we are spending. I just think, neighbor, that there's a lot of things when it comes to. I think, neighbor, how we see the country, we are going to reach 5% growth one year, and then the next year we are going to go back down to 3%, 2% anemic growth, and then we're going to next time we'll peak again and we'll come back down. But the current framework is not in our best interest, and it's not going to give us consistent 5, 6, 7% growth going forward if we continue with how our governance system is set up. Even when I look at this madness, neighbor, about Cornwall regional, Northeast, Southeast regional, Northwest regional, all of these things are madness, neighbor. We have grown region. We need to attack things from a parish standpoint. If the hospitals in St. Catherine need to be fixed, hospitals in St. Catherine are being fixed based on St. Catherine interest, not on a region. We decide that, okay, we get this little money, we have to go look on it from a regional standpoint. All right, we're going to give this to this, we're going to give that. Neighbor, each parish has reached, Jamaica has reached a time where each parish must start stand up on its own. If a productive really want to push, we have to set our budget to align where it push productivity, where it reward productivity. And our budget and our governance system is set up, neighbor, it is not in the best interest. It doesn't line up to push productivity. And this has nothing to do with the current government that is in power. This is a system that the government inherited that needs to be changed and needs to be revamped to some level.
Scotchy, may I answer a question?
Go ahead.
Do you see the Prime Minister pushing towards that? Because I hear him talk about these things that you're talking about. You know? So do you see?
I'm sorry, may I interrupt, please? May I interrupt? Neighbor, I feel like the conversation is going in a different direction from what the main topic is. If you don't mind, can we get back?
Well, we're almost run out of time. we kind of understand the linkages, that are necessary. I think there's a link, because we have to examine the challenge that we have inherited in order to bear down on the solutions going forward. Scratchy, you don't think that this is part of the legacy of the challenge that has been inherited?
A lot of things, neighbor, make up that legacy of the challenge, neighbor. And definitely, neighbor, I can say that we have seen improvement. You know, we see a government who understands and knows it, neighbor, and is directly attacking it. You know, one of the biggest things that was done, as I like to talk about, is the compensation review.
Yes.
Because when you talk about the compensation review, neighbor, the compensation review, neighbor, was something, neighbor, that has been on the books over 20, 25 to 30 years, I believe, neighbor. Each government, neighbor, who took power at the time, neighbor, were so afraid of it, neighbor, that they just allow it to languish, neighbor.
But they never had the resources to do it either, Scratchy.
Great point. Plus, the resources was not there, neighbor, to do it. So it was the Andrew Holness government now, the Andrew Holness-led government, neighbor, who saw it fit that, okay, we're going to introduce the compensation package now. We're in the best time now to do it. We have increased our revenue. The increase of 200 billion Jamaican dollars is no easy feat, neighbor. You can find $200 billion to add to the salaries of public sector workers. That is a big thing, and that continues to increase gradually over each year. So that alone, neighbor, I think, neighbor, is something that the government has shown us, neighbor, that they are not afraid, neighbor, to tackle certain things. And if anything are going to change first, neighbor, I think that is something that has to be changed first. And I think the government, as I said before, the government understand what Jamaica needs, understand what needs to be changed, neighbor, and whatever needs to be changed from us from a legislative standpoint, the government is taking that time. And that is one of the biggest reasons, neighbor, because one of the overall things that holds up a lot of this, neighbor, it has to do with the whole constitutional reform.
Yes.
The government is trying to get done, neighbor, that Mark Jefferson Golden is currently holding up. With constitutional reform, neighbor, the government will be free now, neighbor, to change a lot of the legislation that currently governs our country and governs our system. But Mark Jefferson Golden, neighbor, don't want these changes to be implemented, neighbor, and it's how it fit, neighbor, to hold us up, neighbor, in terms of moving away from the monarch, neighbor, and becoming our own in terms of our being fully independent, and can move from certain things and change our constitution to match the reality of what is going on in our country. My goal in neighbor is definitely holding it up. And once we get our constitutional reform, a lot of changes will be coming massively.
Let me ask you this, Scratchy. The government had the restructuring of the public sector in wages, and it cost the government over $100 billion, and it never had to borrow a cent, Scratchy. $100 billion. And right now 200 billion?
Yeah, $200 billion.
Okay. All right. And right now, Scratchy, the government is being, asked to do more. Scratchy, is there not a sense of unfairness coming from the unions and the public sector workers for a government, same unions that signed on to a wage freeze, and now government has moved people's wages by hundreds of percent for them to be demanding more at a time like this? And if the government don't do it, it seems as if something is wrong. Something is wrong with our people too, Scratchy, in how we are looking at our country.
I mean, definitely, but something is definitely wrong with our people, definitely, but something more important than is wrong with our leaders. A lot of our leaders, a lot of persons who hold certain leadership position. Something is definitely wrong with them, because, as I often say, neighbor, is that Jamaicans understand, neighbor, and see that the country is moving in the right direction, neighbor. The persons who don't see the best interest of the country right now, who think otherwise, or who think that Jamaica is not in the best interest, neighbor, are persons who used to suffer, neighbor, are persons who used to benefit, from some ill-getting gains, neighbor, are persons who used to benefit through nepotism or cronyism or through whoever they might know who hold high offices or high position within a government organization. So those are the persons who are crying out, neighbor, And when you see those type of persons are crying out, I understand that well-thinking Jamaicans will know that the government is doing great. These persons have an appreciation for the government. So, as I'm saying, there are always going to be persons who are putting up resistance. There's no country in the world that run under a democratic system like ours, neighbor, where anything that the government say is gospel and every single citizen take up that and believe it and work with it. There's no one who rebut it or nothing like that, neighbor. Those things are always in play. But my issue is when it comes to important issues, when it comes to things that has to deal with behavioral changes that will automatically lead to a better society. When I see an opposition party now who rebut those things or try to oppose those things, it leaves me to wonder if the opposition has the best interest of Jamaica or is serving the best interest of its political organization. And the moment you find out that a political organization who's seeking the highest office serve the interests of their own political organization more than they serve the best interests of Jamaicans.
Yes.
Those people deserve to be in opposition for a very, very long time. And that is the reason why Jamaicans have voted and not let the PNP be in opposition for a very, very long time.
And you are saying, Scratchy, that the trajectory continues to favor the Jamaica Labour Party.
Definitely, neighbor. As I often say, neighbor, that people don't just rush to polls and vote in opposition party, neighbor. People vote out government. And I don't see Jamaicans, neighbor, voting out this Jamaica Labour Party, that government, neighbor. When I look at the political landscape, I look at the political future going forward, with what is to come in terms of NARA, in terms of the continuing, neighbor, decline in crime, serious crimes, the continue pushing more persons, having potable waters in their pipe. You know, the social housing, more persons being get. So when I look at the political life, the next 4 or 5 years that is to come, neighbor, everything is in line with the Jamaica Labour Party, both from a governance standpoint and from a political party standpoint, neighbor. I don't see, neighbor, the Jamaica Labour Party fumbling the ball without, neighbor, causing any great controversy on themselves, you know, because they're basically a party, neighbor, who sometimes they self-destruct.
Yes.
We have seen since Andrew Holness, neighbor, become the government, neighbor. We have seen that the longer he is in power, neighbor, he has become, you know, he's more level-headed, he's more understanding of the process, and not just him. Even his cabinet members and members of parliament by extension, neighbor. If you look at how the Jamaica Labour Party operates in terms of the People's National Party, when there are certain things, that's why persons tend to believe that the Jamaica Labour Party is allowing misinformation to linger. It is as a result, neighbor, because the Jamaica Labour Party is a structured organization. The dissemination of information, neighbor, is done, neighbor, in a structured way. Because when you have 10, 15 people talking at one specific thing, it is possible that you might cause confusion and it might lead to more question and answer. Take, for example, the People's National Party. The People's National Party have to be dependent on a new allegation of scandal every single week, neighbor, because they realize that after 1 week, neighbor, it fade out and it die out.
That is quite true. So it is almost the perception of scandal that don't exist.
It is a perception that doesn't exist, neighbor. Tell me one scandal or one thing that the PNP has jumped on the backs of Jamaicans about, and it has riled the Jamaica Labour Party over an extended period. The other day they went out in Crossroad, Jamaicans talk about it 2 days and move on with them life again.
Yeah, and you are saying, Scratchy, that the party would be well advised not to pay much attention to the PNP's disinformation rhetoric, because that is not going to win them any election.
Neighbor, the disinformation has no space in our society, neighbor. The disinformation, neighbor, is like it just releases and it explodes and it just explodes. It doesn't go anywhere.
Creates a little bit of emotional hype in the moment.
Yes, it's just in the moment thing, neighbor. It's not going anywhere. It's like they're just making any night, but you're not making any sale. It is not making any advancement. Why, neighbor? They have been making disinformation for so long. Why is the opposition not getting any form of traction? Why is the opposition not getting any form of serious attention? When you look at even the press conferences that the opposition cause and stuff like that, neighbor, they're lame, they're mediocre.
That is true.
Because the media try to give it a hype. So it goes to show, neighbor, that whatever disinformation is being put out there, neighbor, it is not winning, neighbor. It is definitely not winning.
Let me ask you one more question, because I get the sense that the longer the Integrity Commission take with the Prime Minister's case, the more the PNP think they have a chance. Do you think that there's a link here where they are deliberately holding on to the Prime Minister's statutory declaration? But no, it is the matter is before the court. So we're waiting for the court to rule on that. But I get the feeling that matter is a trump card for the PNP, and that they'll do anything to keep the Prime Minister case uncertified.
I believe that I was a man of the institution in the neighbor. I'm someone who believes in the institutions, department, agencies of government. So at first, neighbor, I would say that yes, things look shady at the part of the Integrity Commission, neighbor. But also, I was saying that, well, Scratchy, you support the Jamaica Labour Party, you support Andrew Michael Lowness. It is possible where your judgment is clouded. It is possible where your judgment might be biased. You know, you're not seeing things from a real standpoint, neighbor. But but I still neighbor was saying that the Prime Minister was safer and the Prime Minister don't around. But so now, neighbor, when the leak came from Nationwide, neighbor, in regards to the FID letter, corresponding letter, neighbor, with the Integrity Commission, that kind of blew my mind to a different level. And I think that also helped me, neighbor, to come to an understanding and come to a conclusion and finally made up my mind, neighbor, that the Integrity Commission, neighbor, is definitely, neighbor, entangling a tangled web, neighbor, with the opposition. And it's working in the best interest of the opposition, neighbor. Because when I start to go back and think, neighbor, and look at even coming up to the last election, neighbor, look at how the Integrity Commission reports were being released, the timely manner that these reports were being released under, neighbor. You know, when I look at it, it was directly within the time, so you know that it was designed, it was crafted, it was created to cause some form of uproar, or cause some form of bias, or try to mess up person's vision, or person's thinking, or persons who wanted to say 1 p.m., you know? They were trying to muddy the political landscape and muddy the water. So when I saw that letter now, neighbor, and I read what they had, I get understanding of what was said, neighbor, based on what I think the FID said, and to me, I can be wrong, but I strongly believe, neighbor, that in terms of these investigations that has to do with any monetary thing, neighbor, I think the FID is more equipped. I think the FID is more skilled in carrying out these
But the Gleaner in its editorial today is saying no, can't happen. The Gleaner today addressed that in its editorial. They're saying that especially with the head of the FID being Dennis Strong, there's no way they could support that.
The Gleaners are part of it as well, neighbor. They are also entanglement and in bed with the Integrity Commission, neighbor. So yes, neighbor, I think that they are concluding with the People's National Party, neighbor, and they are continuing to have this cloud over the Prime Minister, so that Jamaicans can find their own speculation and decide what they want to say and say the Prime Minister a thief, and person can say the Prime Minister at this, and person can say the Prime Minister at that. But neighbor, nothing has stopped this Prime Minister, neighbor. Everything with them throw at him, neighbor, he has managed to bounce back from each and every single one. And the last time the Integrity Commission had a report that was released from the Integrity Commission in regards to the Prime Minister, said that they found nothing to charge the Prime Minister for.
Yes.
They sent it to FID to the further investigation. FID wrote back to them if that letter is factual, and said that there is nothing that would change anything, and there is nothing that they're going to waste the resources on, because there is nothing here to investigate. So it goes to show, neighbor, that the Integrity Commission is definitely on a witch hunt. The Integrity Commission, neighbor, is definitely on a mission. And I believe that if the Integrity Commission should change, it should not just be from a legislative standpoint, neighbor. The current staff need to change because the staff is contaminated. I was have to believe that when time the head changed, that we would have seen a different type of Integrity Commission. But it is currently moving in the same direction. I believe that even though that person or that guy or that man step away, neighbor, I think him still have some influence on the Integrity Commission, neighbor. And based on what I'm seeing with the Integrity Commission, it is not an investigation that is being carried out, neighbor, based on evidence that is presented to your neighbor. It is an investigation that is being carried out based on the personal feelings of the investigator. And whether the investigator feel that he is satisfied or feel that you are hiding something, and not what is presented to him or her. And that is the problem with the Integrity Commission, neighbor. It needs to be dismantled. It needs to go. Politicians then need to take a bold step aside. They're right talk speaking about it and saying that Integrity Commission asking some absurd question, neighbor, asking about things that you're garnered, or things that you got from before you was a politician. If you buy a car and sell it, them ask you where you sell it to. If you ask if you do any modification to your house. All of these things are madness.
Well, fantastic. Great. Hold on there for me, member Harry. We're going to go to the last segment We have 15 minutes left. 10:15. We close at 10:30. Let's take a network break and go over to the producer. Producer, good night.
Good night, Mabel. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Asking everyone to tap, share, repost. And for YouTube, we're asking you please to subscribe to our channel, Politics Matter JA. Thank you very much.
Well,
thanks, Caroline. I'm on hold for, I don't know which line I fall into.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
All right. Evening, everybody. I think just to pick up from what the previous caller had stated, if I would give an assessment of the culture in institution in Jamaica, it had like scabs that you pick from a sore, from a sore. You know, that's not a dead flesh thing that really have no use. You just dispose of it. And we must bear in mind that we were warned by persons in the political landscape that this sort of practice where the infiltration of institution was an official policy of the government. And as a consequence of that, what transpired from that and what that is translated into is not just only leaks, but is a control of information, a control of resources, and a control of the power structure that make up these different organizations. And I said so against the background that now we are experiencing incompetence, inefficiencies, and downright insubordinating and people not putting themselves in a position to respond to the new changes that is taking place on a global scale and it's making us more competitive. Now that is a cost to the country in addition to the leaking and the draining of the resources over the years. So if you could make a critical and a cumulative cost that this is costing the country, it run into trillions of dollars. I mean, look at what the budget for the ICA, for example. Look at how much that is, and we are not getting the best. We are not getting best practices. We are not getting the most competent people. Now, bear this in mind, that these people are highly paid. And even on that basis, remember they're saying that people are running away because they're not getting the money. But here you're getting enough money. But here we have an institution where people are being overpaid, using $9 million on lunch, spending $9 million on lunch, where them only God he knows. And yet still we are not getting proper service.
Yeah, you know, sir, I think let me just say this, that I think it was Socrates who said that institutions are the oxygen of a democracy. And you heard Scratchy talk about a believer in institutions. It is systems. You know, you can't allow individuals to be too infused into a system. You know, sir. You have to use the system to check the individuals. And I think you make a valid point that we may have emerged out of a time when the institutions were politicized. And that is going to be very difficult to fix, you know. Don't you agree?
Totally. Look at the cost. Look at the financial cost, and look at the human cost that is going to take.
Yeah.
And Audrey Marks has a big, huge job on her hands, because that falls into her portfolio as well. And I hope that she'll have to exercise a great deal of patience, because she'll definitely deal with some old cow and hog and goat, and she'll have to systematically and methodically read out those types of people, because they're in the system for a purpose. Right?
A country they come from, sir?
That is going to be a challenge.
Country they come from?
Well, I mean, all walks of life. I mean, even when you got Tony to go to down.
You know, when I was in the country, I used to hear that in Old Harbor the goats were very intelligent. They stopped the pedestrian crosses and cross. Goats.
I know how to cross. But
Yeah.
just on a closing point though.
Yes.
I think one of the things you see, persons on the panel, you see, we as a society, you see, we have grown into the culture where we allow the system or the political system to set the standard for us. In other words, wherein it should be that we set the standard and the political system complement that standard that we set. Because what you have now is that they set the standard, we don't approve, and then therefore it becomes even more difficult for us to get the problem that we encounter solved. Wherein if it had come from the ground up, where we set the standard and said, look, this is what we want, and I mean when I say setting the standard, I mean by our action and the things that we demonstrate, because we equally have an equal should have an equal interest in the development of the country. I mean, Andrew Wallace's interest should be no greater than a father who has children, or a man who is in interest in protecting his community. And on that basis, we should form our own principle, or establish who we are as a people, and set that tone so that when a politician comes in, he had little option than to complement what is there and what is standard part of the and what would become dominant culture.
Fascinating. So I'd love you to come back. Another night, and so I could have a fulsome discussion on this. But I want to thank you.
Certainly.
Okay. I really love producer. Can you get back this caller for me? I'd love to talk to him about the institutionalization, the political influence in terms of institutions. This is a fascinating discussion. We have not a lot of time left. Jordan Crosskill, good night.
Good night.
Hi. Yes, sir. Good night. Welcome.
How are you doing? Well, I was asking in the chat if I could respond to Scratchy about the IC, if there's enough time left.
Go ahead.
All right. So, what I wanted to respond to, or what I wanted to share towards it, and I think if we look at the landscape right now, we're seeing it on both sides. We're seeing it happen with, yes, there's a level of scrutiny towards FID because of the whole, Dennis Chung situation and Andrew and so on. And then we look at IC, and there's a lot of scrutiny there from, government side and government supporters because of there's more, time or energy being spent in terms of looking into some of the government members as it is.
Sorry, sir, I'm not understanding. Hold on. I'm not understanding what.
So I'm just setting the premise of what I'm sharing. So I think though what I don't, or what I'm asking us not to do, or what I hope we don't do.
No, Jordan. You said you wanted to respond to what Scratchy said. Setting premises. Okay, so please do that. Thanks.
Cool. Okay, good. So so basically that's the dynamic, of people looking at the IC and the FID in as policing or anti-corruption entities. The way how Scratchy describes it as it that is not doing its job, or that is not doing enough, or that it needs to be taken apart, so to speak. If you want to correct me.
You seem a little bit uncertain about what you want to ask. What is it you want to ask?
No, man. I am certain about what I want to ask.
No, we don't have a lot of time, Jordan. Please, just get to the question.
I want to ask as respectfully as I can.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
What I would ask, Scratchy, is I see being the only entity that is technically equipped to oversee the parliamentarians and the public officials and so on, or at least by law and by the IC Act is the only one that is equipped. Why is there not more of an intent to strengthen the IC and to allow it to be able to properly do its role before asking for it to be removed or asking for it to be lessened in strength. When, if we're looking at it just truthfully, it has not been given enough ability to do its role.
Before Scratchy comes in, can I ask you some questions?
Yeah, man.
Okay. There is a philosopher that said that institutions are the oxygen of democracy. Institutions. Would you agree with me that at this point in Jamaica, there are questions about the integrity of the Integrity Commission?
I would agree with you that.
No, you agree.
Some people do have questions.
You agree with that?
That some people have questions.
You agree with that?
I agree that some people have questions about it, yes.
Yeah. And do you agree that those questions or concerns are legitimate questions and concerns?
Not necessarily.
They are illegitimate.
I don't want to say illegitimate. I try never to tell anybody that their questions are
Okay,
wrong or
but do you know that people question the existence of God?
very much so.
Are those illegitimate questions?
No.
Sir?
No, they're not.
Okay, so why you can question the existence of God, but you're not supposed to question the IC?
Well, that's why I said, neighbor.
So does admit, sir, that the IC is not above.
If you ask a question that is pointed in a way that only suits the answer that you need, no problem.
No man. No man. I'm saying the IC is not above scrutiny or criticism.
True.
So don't say that those questions are illegitimate. They are not illegitimate because this is a democracy.
Are the parliamentarians above scrutiny?
Okay, you know what? This is going to take me a little time to get to where I want to go, and my clock is telling me that I don't have the time. But one more thing. The IC, they have raised concerns that the.
Wait, neighbor, you don't want to answer my question?
What question?
That if the parliamentarians are not, if they're above scrutiny.
Oh no, but sir, sir, if you listen to this program, you wouldn't ask me that question because I have said that God is omniscient and God has placed restrictions on himself. So absolutely not. Sir, where there is no check
I'm
on
asking about parliamentarians.
where there is no check on power, then that power becomes problematic. So parliamentarians are not without constraint. Yeah?
So would you agree then that the IC does deserve the strength it requires to be able to oversee that?
Not in the state it is. The IC need to be reformed, and at this point, the very prime minister of the country is not expressing confidence in the IC, sir. And you know why?
I wouldn't feel very happy about somebody investigating me or sending.
No. That has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do. No. It has nothing to do with that, sir. If you listen to the leader of the opposition, you get the impression that the leader of the opposition.
1 second, please, Jordan. Please do not tell me.
I'm having a conversation with the neighbor. Please don't mute my mic.
No. Please do not tell me not to mute your mic. I'm going to ask you to mute back your mic and wait until neighbor finish speaking, then you respond.
Okay, thank you. If you listen to the leader of the opposition, sir, any reasonable people would assume that the leader of the opposition gets information out of the IC before it gets to Parliament. And that's a problem. You cannot have an institution of the stature of an integrity commission and information out of the commission gets into the hand of any politician in Jamaica before it gets to the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate. That is wrong. And if an institution functions at that level, sir, you can't have any confidence in it. As a matter of fact, there is evidence because there was a member of the parliament that stood up in parliament and spoke about illicit sex, and the speaker had to ask that member to withdraw it. And that was before the tabling of the report. How did that information come in? Last week, the leader of the opposition was telling a group of supporters that the prime minister is in a pickle because more things are come. What he mean, more things are come? What does he mean? Yeah? No. The Integrity Commission in its present structure and form, sir.
But will I have a chance to respond to you?
Wait, we don't. Yeah, hold on. The Integrity Commission in its present structure and form need to be reviewed. And I think you know, sir, that had it not been for the PNP, maybe we wouldn't have an Integrity Commission. The PNP the PNP so mismanaged the affairs of the country that we had to recolonize ourselves. It's a shame. I'm going to ask, you didn't come here to ask me any questions. So, Scratchy, you want to respond to my friend Jordan?
Oh, wait, neighbor. No, I wanted to respond to you.
I don't want to debate this. I don't want to debate it. I just want Scratchy to respond. No, Scratchy could just.
Me, but I cannot respond to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, hold on, man. Don't leave. Scratchy?
But I will just accept the dictation and.
I listen here with that. Again, I listen here, if you listen to this program, you know that neighbor, we have someone neighbor, we have never shied away. I'm saying that neighbor, the country needs an IC. IC is a very important institution.
Right.
But it's currently the members who make up the IC neighbor who clearly neighbor show their bias and show that they have some form of hidden agenda.
Yes.
And we have to definitely clear these people out of it, neighbor.
And wouldn't you accept, Scratchy, that the PNP, by politicizing the reports, have injured the IC? Irreparably injured them. Huh?
Definitely, neighbor. The PNP has definitely injured the IC, neighbor. When they come in their talking point with things that contest in the report before reports are being released, the PNP is famous for this. Even I might be off point, but even when you go back to neighbor, the leaking of the MOU in regards to the TNC, neighbor. I don't want you, neighbor, for a minute in the neighbor to think that the leak was sent to Gleaner, neighbor. That leak was sent to the PNP and PNP sent it to Gleaner. I don't want you for what interest would it serve anyone neighbor to send that to the Gleaner?
Think about that.
Wait. Can Scratchy confirm that? By evidence?
Well,
what he just mentioned a while ago, can he confirm that by evidence? Because you do know, just based on the defamatory laws, you do know there's something wrong with what he just said, right?
Sue me. I am not suing.
No, I won't scratch it.
Then hush up, man.
Sued for that type of speech.
Sue me.
Guys, as in you see, you don't know
yes,
how
neighbor, I don't want for a second you believe that it's not a Gleaner leak went to the Gleaner.
You don't follow rules. That's it.
That leak was sent to the people. You dictate the rules over this side, sir. That thing was sent to the People's National Party.
The laws of the government say that you cannot actually declare that, well, what you just declared, that it was PNP who got the leak.
No, he's asking a question, son. That's nothing. Hold on, no man, come now, Mr. B, come on. Hold on, no sir. He is asking. No, he has a right. No, there's nothing wrong with what he did. He can ask that question. You can ask that. Just we can ask. For example, if I say, I am wondering whether Mark Golding is going to be challenged at the September conference. It's a question I'm asking. I'm not making it.
No man. No. So don't get me wrong. I would not sue it. I wouldn't sue.
Well, they don't talk about sue. There's nothing to sue about. Okay. There's nothing to sue. No, that don't come. No, that don't come in here, man. Hold on. That don't come in.
somebody just settled a lawsuit for speaking about a certain person in a certain way.
Apples and
You
orange.
should be careful. That's all I'm saying. You should just be careful.
Apples and orange.
Mr. Kraskin. When TVJ News broadcast the people in house and said TC and I live in there, did you call the people and tell them to sue TVJ?
If they want to, they can.
Why don't call them and tell them one bigger case and what you just said?
Because I don't know who owns the house, so I can't call them. Why are you
find
asking?
out and call them since you're someone who like to talk about sue.
No, I don't like to talk about sue. I'm just mentioning something to you, Scratchy.
Okay.
That's all. I don't like to talk about
Jordan, I'm gonna have to run though, you see, so I'm out of time. I'm out of time. Yes, I'm out of time. I'm really out of time. But I'm speaking to you for the first time, and I welcome you back. You are free to return, sir. We have conversations here. We don't get into debates here. Conversations. All right. So if you want to rejoin, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Guys, let's head for home and let's go back where we started the program. 40 years of Jamaica, and we're saying that where Jamaica is today is part of a reconstructing, a recalibrating, and those persons who are going about thinking that somehow the Jamaica Labour Party is responsible for the ills of the society, they are wrong. Let's start with you, Harry, as we bring the curtains down.
Well, it is written in a neighbor, right? It is quite evident. The blind can see right through it. Those who are the mathematicians can also see, neighbor. And when we look at the progression of Jamaica, or the lack thereof within the time frames, it is blatantly clear. And the positions we're in is because of those mismanagement, is because of those years where what the people deserved and what Jamaica needed to do was never done, right? And for some stuff that were done was just a scratching the surface. We caused a level of distrust among our people against the systems and frameworks that should make their lives better, that should provide access to resources. Through mismanagement, that has happened. And as such, for example, we've seen the birth of an integrity commission. We've seen tightened bureaucratic processes that are now stifling the country's development, right? It served a purpose because of what happened. And as such, now it has become the very factor or factors that are holding us from reaching those aspirations that we can at this current moment. So the writing is on the wall, neighbor. There's not much to be said about it. It just takes for people to stop, look and listen, right? It is right there in front of us. You don't necessarily need anybody to say it to you. People have lived it. People have learned through parents and through lineage. And there are others who would have read the history of it, neighbor. It is right there in many different medium. And as such, it's just for people to accept that that was the reality and that those actions or lack thereof caused us to be where we are. And those are facts. We can't remove them. They said history is written by the victors, but not in this case. We're seeing it for what it is. And we have to call it out. It is more than a bitter pill to swallow, neighbor, in all honesty. Right? It is trauma. It is mental instability for those who lived it. It is slow recovery process for those who learned of it secondary. And it is no news to those who came long after and are now trying to build from the ashes that they came and saw. And nothing is wrong to hold those who made those mistakes, those who failed the people of the time and thus failed the future, which is now. Nothing is wrong with that. And anybody have a problem with that, then I'll tell them check themselves to understand what it takes for humanity and for a nation to move forward. Because it starts right there. And I hand over to you, neighbor.
Thank you so much. Astute.
Yes, neighbor. I'll make this one quick. It is indeed the annals of history would have shown us these things are not things that are just in our minds. If we go to the Gleaner archives, we will see the multiplicity of scandals under this government. And if we should even one day take the time out to do the cost of this corruption, not only from a financial perspective, but from a human capital perspective, we would see brain drain and we will see high unalivings and we will see people admitted to Bellevue in droves. We will see an uneducated populace following. We will see political apathy. We will see wiping out of our GDP of approximately 44%. We will, so many things. The manufacturing industry being destroyed. These are not things that we are just making up out of thin air. Even the very civic groups that were formed, JFJ, NIA, was as a result of Jamaica's position in the world where corruption is concerned. Lastly, our passport. We couldn't go nowhere with the passport after we PNP do to we. No country no one we in a them place because Jamaican had an image placed on them where corrupt people who are lawless because of the poor governance, the poor politics of the People's National Party over the 18 and a half uninterrupted years. I knew many people who passed away, many people who, like literally people's lives were lost because of the poor governance of the People's National Party. So it is not conjecture. It is not something that is made up in our minds. The annals of history will prove us correct, factual, truthful, that the People's National Party has done nothing. And I'm talking about cumulatively. Because people will come out and say, didn't they create Jamal? Didn't they create... Neighbor, the PNP is the weapon that consistently holds Jamaica back. And until... I don't think that's a political party either way, but that's a different story. We have seen it. Some have lived it. I have lived it. And history will prove it. So, thankfully for the Jamaica Labour Party, we're doing unprecedented things in unprecedented times. And thanks be to God. Thanks be to God for Prime Minister Andrew Holness. And I rest it there.
Thank you so much, Astute. Scratchy, you have the final word.
I mean, I can really say very briefly, neighbor, is that Jamaica is a country, neighbor, where my heart, my soul, and everything, neighbor, is with Jamaica, neighbor.
Yes.
Jamaica will always be my favorite place on earth. Jamaica will always be my home.
Yes.
And I also believe, neighbor, that Jamaica is always to me seen as one of the smallest country with the biggest impact on the world, neighbor. We are so impactful around the world in every single sectors of life, whether it be academia, whether it be music, whether it be sports, whether it be civic movements in terms of Marcus Garvey and persons like those. So I can definitely say, neighbor, that Jamaica is not where we want Jamaica to be, neighbor, but Jamaica is nowhere where we know Jamaica used to be, neighbor. And I am proud to know that I support a government, neighbor, from a political standpoint, the Jamaica Labour Party, who I can boast and say, neighbor, has made the most drastic changes in a Jamaica, neighbor, in terms of its image, in terms of how it is seen internationally, and in terms of its infrastructure. And I just want everybody to just understand, neighbor, and just know that it's a rocky road, neighbor. The road is so rough, neighbor, but once we continue to stay focused and once we continue to believe and continue to push, at some point in time, neighbor, we will get there, we get close to there, neighbor. But I strongly know, neighbor, that comparing Jamaica back in the days to compare Jamaica to now, anyone with common sense, neighbor, and I say this with no apology, and I say this, neighbor, with no opposition, and I say this, neighbor, with no bias, This is coming with straight reality and facts, neighbor. The People's National Party destroyed a beautiful country called Jamaica, neighbor. The People's National Party, neighbor, is the problem why Jamaica is suffering. The People's National Party is the ones, neighbor, who cause us to be on our knees and more than one time begging. The People's National Party is the one who, neighbor, where we are so powerful in the Caribbean, but most of our power comes from a cultural standpoint, neighbor, and not from a financial one. The PNP hindered our financial growth and our financial development and our financial advancement, neighbor, through poor policies, poor programs, policies and programs that benefited their friends in terms of cronyism, nepotism. And neighbor, all we who support the Jamaica Labour Party, all we can do, neighbor, just continue to push, continue to ask our family members who we support, our loved ones who we support, let them know that this is the way forward, this is the vision. Jamaica is in a place, neighbor, where none of us right now, upon a live basis, can say we have never seen Jamaica at this stage before, neighbor. Jamaica is in its prime. Jamaica is in that mood where it is on the runway for takeoff. And if we miss this moment, neighbor, I can tell you it's another 30 years again. That's why the People's National Party should never live to see the reign of power in Jamaica again, neighbor, for a very, very long time, as sad as it might sound. They are destructive. They don't serve the best interests of the country. And whenever they're in power, our people suffer both from an intellectual level, from a financial level, from every single sector. Every single sector fail. And my last point that I want to make, neighbor, is that to prove my point even more solid is that when Jamaica was in its ill, when Jamaica had the highest level of poverty, when Jamaica had the highest level of crime, when Jamaica had the highest level of unemployment, and when Jamaicans were struggling in terms of their living condition, neighbor, the PNP was very attractive. The PNP managed to win 4 consecutive elections while Jamaica was in that cycle of sufferation and direness. Now, fast forward to 2016 to present, neighbor, 10 years, where Jamaica is now seeing levels of low unemployment, levels of low crime, levels of low poverty. All of the misery index that were high within the PNP, neighbor, is now low. In terms of even of our literacy rate is much more advanced than it was nearby 18 and a half consecutive years of PNP rule our country for. So I ask myself, and this is how I come to my conclusion, the PNP is not good for Jamaica. Because I ask myself and I say to myself that a political organization that has proven themselves in the 90s to be so powerful, a political organization that they could put on their pot with water, neighbor, and go to the polls and know that they will come out victorious when time Jamaica was suffering. Why now that Jamaica is advanced, the people in Jamaica is advancing as well, this same political organization that yielded so many power is so irrelevant right now and have no form of power right now. So it goes to show me that the People's National Party benefit when Jamaica is at its wits, when Jamaica is at its worst. And as long as Jamaica continue to rise above the ashes and rise above the level of mediocrity that we are used to, neighbor, we're going to continue to see the People's National Party be in opposition for a very, very long time. Because a lot of these stone-hearted, diated PNP who we used to were elders right now, neighbor, I can tell you that they have a surprise coming. Because a lot of them children who are currently going to high school now, a lot of them grandkids who are going to high school now and go to college, neighbor, I am telling you, neighbor, these kids appreciate technology, neighbor. These kids appreciate flush toilet. These kids appreciate slab roof instead of zinc roof. These kids appreciate concrete fence instead of zinc fence. These kids appreciate carpet instead of pothole roads, neighbor. These kids don't want to be living in poverty. These kids are not going to stick for any mediocre and easy life, neighbor, because if we are in an era of smartphone and they want whenever them take out them phone, neighbor, to take a picture to post on them favorite social media app, them living condition and them living space is in the best condition where they don't have to hide and they don't have to go over a friend house, neighbor. The society, I know this is no disrespect, but the society before this one, neighbor, who die-heartedly and blindly follow the PNP, neighbor, they appreciated pit latrines, they appreciated no roads, they appreciated no water, they appreciated high level of poverty, and they appreciated being put to live in sub-living condition and area that is not conducive for residential living. That is what they were used.
Wow. Well, that's it for tonight's program. What a wonderful program it was. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are on TikTok and you have not yet subscribed to Politics Matter JA, please, before you leave tonight, go and subscribe to Politics Matter. That's the YouTube channel, Politics Matter. We don't have enough subscribers over there, and we need to get to at least 1,000 before the end of this week. Politics Matter JA. No cost you nothing if you just go subscribe, man. We're live on YouTube at 7 o'clock. Want to thank YouTube. You did very well tonight. We have 200 people came up to YouTube tonight to watch us. And the channel is just 3 days old. What a fantastic accomplishment that is. In Scratchy?
I'm definitely neighbor. We just want to continue to ask persons, neighbor, to support the new page, neighbor, Politics Matters JA, neighbor.
Yes.
And
we had 200 people over there watching tonight, Scratchy. Can you imagine that?
Definitely neighbor, wonderful feat, man. Just want persons to continue to subscribe. Spread the subscription.
What a fantastic supporters we have, Scratchy. They follow us wherever we go. We love them, eh?
That's what I often say, neighbor, behind the scenes, neighbor, in personal conversation, neighbor. We always highlight the importance of these people, neighbor. We always say, it's not just the message alone, neighbor, it's just the love and the appreciation that these people show.
Yes,
us,
I never expected.
Give us the energy, and give us the energy and give us the strength to come on for 3-4 hours and continue to do this, So, that's why I continue to thank them, man, and just continue to say, yo, guys, you continue to do what we have to do for our side. And we just ask for your continued support and your loyalty.
Let me ask you this before you move, Scratchy, because you have been with me from day one. It's really been a struggle, not true, man?
I can't say neighbor, I definitely been a struggle, neighbor. I remember the first line, neighbor, we had about 10 or 12 persons, And yeah, I remember the first line, neighbor, man. And we continue to build, there's only
Have you ever felt like you want to just throw in the towels after all the fight we have gotten? It's been rough, man.
Definitely, neighbor. That thought has come across me more than once, neighbor. Sometimes I ask myself, neighbor, is it worth it, Because the level of disrespect, neighbor, that sometimes you see it be thrown at the neighbor, but because persons see on social media, and you just get your part on a political thing, and just people choose to attack you otherwise, not even ways are, I know they might not take certain level of disrespect and stuff like that, but definitely, neighbor, something that we have considered, neighbor, that I have considered, neighbor, to just throw in the towel sometime, neighbor. As I say, we have a loyal fan base, neighbor, we have a loyal supporter, so.
I was telling the producer today that don't think that I am not hurt by all that has been done. And I don't come up here and cry. And I was telling her that, Scratchy, every night at 7 o'clock, it doesn't matter how I'm feeling, it doesn't matter how I am down, I have to turn on my cameras and laugh. I have to turn on my cameras and appear as if everything is okay. But it has been hurtful, Scratchy. I must tell you the truth. And to the listeners, that it's been very painful,
Yeah, but it has to be painful, neighbor. Because remember, neighbor, we have been trying to do this over an extended period of time now, neighbor. None of us didn't start this vision, neighbor. We never know what I reach this far. We never know what I've been here so long, And, based on the demand from our followers, we decide, okay, we're going to branch off in other social media avenues to spread the word and spread the message, And as I say, it hurt me to neighbor because the reason why it hurt me so much because I know how far we have come from. And it pained me if you know that, he's someone who was the last person to really join the team, really establishing our back like that, neighbor. And it just pained me, neighbor. As I said before, I am not normally surprised by actions of people, neighbor. That don't normally surprise me because I always tell myself that there's nothing that I don't expect from humans, neighbor. But this one kind of hit me different. I don't know because I don't know neighbor because my I don't even want to say it, neighbor, but this one kind of catch me away, neighbor, and it really
Yeah.
affect me. And
You know, Scratchy. When we started, me and you, during the election period there, I never expected that I would be up here on YouTube talking to 200 people and almost 400 on TikTok. I never knew that it was even possible.
No, neighbor, I'm telling you, so we never planned this to certain level, neighbor. You just click the live and I meet and I come on the live that day, neighbor, and we just decide to this look like so okay and do it to come to the election. After the election, we leave now, wonder where we're gonna go next if I hit this and the political landscape being so hot and not just the political landscape again, also the demand, you know.
And we found Caroline, or Caroline found us.
Yeah, Caroline found us and came along the way, neighbor, and one of the best thing ever.
Hasn't she been a fantastic support, man?
One of the best happened to the platform, neighbor. Then we met Harry. Harry come along, you know. And we did it with Harry as well, neighbor.
Yeah, Harry, yeah. Oh God, I don't say it often, but I want my listeners to know that she's our strength holding us up.
Definitely, neighbor, definitely. Enough night, neighbor, you know, bad me get body for come on, you know, because you know, sometimes me are rude, you know, sometimes we get a text message or we get a call, you know, you have to report, you know. But that's what I'm saying, you know, we do this all kind of love, neighbor. We do this
Yeah.
for love.
But I want my listeners to know, and I'm not an emotional. Well, yes, I am emotional, but you know, it's not easy. It's not easy to put on this jacket, get a shower, comb your hair, shave, put on your cologne, and to show up every night and to smile when you are hurting. It's not easy. And if you are a supporter of this, I believe you are family, and I want you to know that the platform is, yeah, we're hurting a bit by all that has happened. And it's not only this one. You remember when they took down the TikTok page, Scratchy?
Yes, neighbor, we lost over 30,000 followers on that page, neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then again, launch a new page under constant restriction.
Constant restriction. Even as we speak, the other page is, and you know, we don't talk about these things a lot because we don't want to sound like we are growling and yeah, you guys are going they're going to screenshot it, you know. They're going to screenshot it and say that you know, we are over here complaining. But it is not a complaint. The fact of the matter is that we have got more fight than any other platform.
Despite feeling sad, neighbor, we are not complaining, neighbor. We still show up, neighbor. We show up stronger than ever, neighbor. One thing I can tell you, neighbor, that we are not afraid, neighbor, are not shy, neighbor, to show that we are not perfectionists, neighbor. We are not perfect, neighbor.
Right.
Everything that happens, same like everyone. Every family have some form of dispute at some point in time, neighbor. And the reason why we chose to bring this public, neighbor, is because of how important the issue is, neighbor, and because we think our followers, neighbor, deserve an explanation as to why we love our channel.
Well, yes, that is true. So
it's not to say that we have any grows or there's any bad blood in the camp or anything like that. We're all good, you know?
Yes.
We're all good. Them can start the page or they can take the page, but they can't take the messenger, doesn't it?
Well, that is
true. Still here. I'm still here. Harry is still here. Caroline is still here, you know?
But what is shocking? What is shocking to me? What is shocking to me, Scotty, is that the page is barely 3 days old and it is maintaining the numbers we had.
Definitely, neighbor, because the message is strong and the message outpaces all of us, neighbor. The message go far, the message go wide, and the message has the most important thing, the message of substance, neighbor. So people always want to hear the message, neighbor. People like good news, you know, neighbor, just like how them like good food, you know.
Yes, and good girls. If you're a man.
And good girls.
And if you're a woman, you want a good man.
Definitely, all females deserve a good man.
And I think you're a good man there, Scratchy. You have 2 beautiful children.
Definitely, neighbor. Those are my lifeline, them, you know, neighbor, my son and my daughter, you know.
Yeah.
2 lifeline, them.
You know that my youngest son is 22, sir?
Okay, yeah, for a long time, you know.
you're how old is your daughter?
My daughter is very young now. My daughter is 6 years old.
Oh my God! And your son?
My son is 8 years old.
Oh, boy, you have a lot of money
to. I reach 14 anyway. I'm not 14 years old yet.
Yeah. You have a lot of money to spend, you know, Scratchy.
I can't tell any.
Oh God! Oh God! You know, I remember when that. Yes, when Joshua was going to high school and Timothy was going to primary school. I think I had to give Joshua 800 and Timothy 6 during that time. Nay, easy, you know, Scratchy. Every day. Every day to find the money. I tell you something, say you think it were easy? It were never easy.
Yeah, that can't easy there. That was easy at that time.
Yes, and at that time you can tell you that, and I can imagine today when I don't think you can give your child more than 1,500 to go to school now or 2,000.
No, yeah, my son I 8, and I believe my son supposed to get 12 or 1,300 a day.
Oh my God, 1,300 a day.
Yeah, but I asked him how much lunch at his school, and he tell me say 650, and I couldn't believe it.
650.
650 for your lunch at his school.
And you know, sir, when I turn out to Homewood, I bet you never guess how much money my mother give me.
$100.
$20. It, you know, I used to get $100 for the week, for the whole week, $100. That's in $100 for the week. So I got $20 a day to go to high school.
I used to get my lunch money from like Sunday. I used to get all of my lunch
right.
money.
Yes, one time.
Sunday. One time I get my lunch money, and neighbor that finished from Wednesday.
Okay, yes, I used to meet my father. By the way, rest in peace, Stanford. Why may I tell you? I used to go wait for him on Friday, you know, down Batam Road. And sometimes I wait till 12 o'clock. My daddy come in. He give me $100. And that have to keep me for the week. That you want to spend it off. Sometimes by Wednesday done, you know, Scratchy. All you have out like your fear.
Yeah, by Wednesday, my lunch money, I finish. I'm getting my lunch money from Sunday.
Yes, it was never enough. But
I spent from Sunday when I get it.
I suspect, Scratchy, that in the years to come, we're going to be a fantastic platform and we're going to grow. Because it couldn't be anything else but the fight we get and the challenges and the setbacks.
With time, neighbor, it will definitely get better, neighbor, because to be fair and to be frank, neighbor, pulling 200 persons on a TikTok live, neighbor, 8 months or 9 months after a general election, still not in an election mode, neighbor.
Not.
And can manage to pull this type of number. So it goes to show, neighbor, that when it comes back around to that period of time, neighbor, a platform, neighbor, that is established, a platform that is structured over extended period of time, neighbor. I'm expecting to see a rapid increase.
Yes, like any media organization during election times, they do very well.
Exactly, because there's an appetite for that type of meat, for that type of news right now.
Yes.
So majority of Jamaicans will be tuning in, and not just our platform. All of the platforms will definitely see an increase, neighbor. And I just ask that all of us just continue to make our presence be felt on social media. And I think, neighbor, that if we should continue, neighbor, on the same trajectory, neighbor, and getting better as the days goes by, all the way up to the next election cycle in 2030, neighbor, all of us, neighbor, will be a powerhouse going forward.
Remember, we had 10,000 people on election night, you know, sir.
Exactly.
10,000. Fantastic. Great. Well, have a great night, Scratchy. Take care of yourself and appreciate you, man.
Same to you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night, Caroline.
All right. All right, YouTube. Take care of yourselves and I'll catch you tomorrow here. Politics Matter JA. Catch you tomorrow. You hear? Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Lifestyle Politics, thank you so much. All my YouTubers, subscribe, please. Subscribe and like the page and tell your neighbors about it, that this is a new page. Let's build it. Huh? Take care and bye-bye. All right. TikTok.